Welcome back, passengers and pilots, to another episode of Dragon Spotting, the podcast where we watch movies with dragons in them and tell you about it. I'm Diana, pronouns they, any.
I'm Heather. I'm a she-they kind of gal.
And this week on the podcast, we are covering our first horror-ish movie, which is very exciting to me, Diana. I love me a horror movie, with 2005's Red Eye, directed by Wes Craven. Yeah!
Yay! I don't know what the strict genre difference is between horror and thriller, but
Uh-huh.
I will say I was both frightened and thrilled by this film, so who knows? The line gets blurry. Diana, people might
Well,
have some questions already.
what do you mean?
Well, if they have
What
not
do you
seen
mean?
this movie but have heard of it, the question they are probably asking is, "Hey, I thought this was a podcast about movies with dragons in them."
Yeah, it is. And we'll get to that.
We'll get
I
to
I have
that.
it I have it planned in my notes, the exact place I'm going to justify this movie's having a dragon in it.
Well, I
But
also have in my notes the part where I looked at it and said, "Okay, justifiably, I can call this a dragon spotted moment." So we'll
oh,
see. We'll see
excellent.
what we have lined up here, but more than
Perfect.
anything, this was an excuse for you to get me to watch Red Eye, which is a movie you very deeply enjoy. If you want to start on that.
I God, I love this movie. This movie's so fun. To give a baseline for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about and is just boggled. We boggled your tiny mind in more ways than one. Red Eye is a movie by director Wes Craven, who is a horror legend, and it follows a woman who's a hotel manager as she boards a red eye flight and is more or less told, hey, I need you to set up an assassination or else I'm going to kill your dad. And that's what the movie is. The movie goes from there. It's mostly on an airplane because that's what the red eye, because it's a red eye flight. You get it? Haha.
Yeah,
Um,
haha.
there's no joke there. That's just what the movie's
This
called.
is actually a movie about the reefer madness.
This is a movie about having pink eye.
No, this is a movie about young hot Cillian Murphy, as you kept referring
Ooh.
to him, being
Young hot
young and
Cillian
hot and kind of
Murphy.
scary.
Young hot scary Cillian Murphy and young hot Rachel McAdams. They are the
Yeah.
two main characters of this movie. They are very good. I think this movie is wonderful. I think it is extremely well done. And I am excited to share it with people because it is fairly underrated. And it's one of those movies that I think almost suffers from being called a thriller because a lot of thriller movies, in my opinion, are quite bog standard and forgettable beyond just you watch it, you have a good time with it, and you leave. Whereas this one is a little bit slower than that. It's got some good actiony scenes. It's got a really fun setup. It's set up to be almost like a romantic comedy of sorts before the kind of the mic drop moment of realizing what's actually going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And it's we're gonna get I want to do a full section at the end where we talk about perception and what makes a movie a kind of in quotes great film versus something that is kind of that you can just throw away and dismiss despite all of its good qualities. Because there is someone very specific who has given some interesting takes on this movie, and I
Okay.
that's kind of going to be, I think, what our ending, like our cap off discussion at the end of this is going to be. I would like,
Something for our
but
listeners to look forward to.
Exactly. Yeah, but just beyond that, my opinion of this movie is I think it's great. I think it's underrated. I think it's wonderful. And I think if you are comfortable with thriller movies with a bit of a horror edge to it, I highly recommend checking this.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I was able to share it with my friend Heather.
I am so glad to have been shared with. I didn't know fucking anything about this movie. I had never heard of it.
Yeah, it's
That's
one of
my
those.
context.
Uh-huh. And now you know about it.
And now I know about it, and I've watched it like 2.5 times at this point.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It was quite the movie.
Yeah.
How
And
did such a movie get made, Diana?
I was about to say, Heather, I think this is a perfect time to transition over to the production history side of things.
Oh, you know how
Now,
I feel about a good transition.
I know you love one of those.
Let's
So,
get cooking.
let's get cooking. This might just be our shortest production history segment thus far on the podcast.
Oh?
Because this movie was smooth sailing as far as I've been able to tell from what I found. And largely, I relied on my DVD copy for all of this.
Uh-huh.
So we have info from the filmmaker commentary with director Wes Craven, producer Marianne Maddalena, and editor Patrick Lussier. We have a short documentary on the DVD called Making of Red Eye, and we have a second short documentary on the DVD called Wes Craven, A New Kind of Thriller. But yeah, so I relied largely on those DVD bonus features to do the production history side of things. I'm not going to get into every single detail that I found interesting here because there's just going to be a couple that it's more interesting and makes more sense to do as we talk about the movie itself. But I did my best to provide a small bit of like a timeline and just like a big chunk of info that makes more sense just being front loaded versus saved for later.
Yeah.
So Red Eye, the script, is from first-time screenwriter Carl Ellsworth. The story by credit is also given to some guy named Dan Foose. I'm so sorry, Dan. They did not talk about you very much. They were much more verbose when it came to Carl Ellsworth, who did indeed also have a cameo in the movie, which is very fun.
Fun.
The executive producer, whose name I wrote down and then didn't put in this section of my notes, I apologize, more or less, according to him, got the script, read it in a weekend, and sent it to the studio that very Monday and was purchased a day later. Quoting him directly, he said, "Everyone read it and said, yeah, this is a movie." That was meant to be complimentary, but it was so funny because the documentary just kind of cut him off after saying that nothing burger of a statement. I was thrilled. Wes Craven and his producer, Marianne Maddalena, get the script and are pretty much sold on it immediately after they read it, and really as they're reading it. Craven specifically wasn't originally sure because he had just finished making a movie called Cursed, which had taken him several years and really burned him out. And he was like, I really just want to like go off and be alone for a bit. But then he read the movie and was basically immediately like, no, I have to do this. I want to do this movie.
God, that's how you know shit is going to be good.
Yeah. And that was generally, it sounds like that was everyone's reaction to reading this script of, oh yeah, this is going to be a good movie. We want to do this.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. This script is really solid. If the script they read is anything similar to what the final product of this movie was, incredibly solid, like well-paced script.
Yeah, it sounds like we're going to get to the very few amount of reshoots that they did, but it sounds like for the most part, the script was already this good and they just kind of tightened it up in a couple of places. I also want to give some background on Wes Craven because that's a name that I've been throwing around a lot. If you don't know who this guy is, he is a horror legend. Like, there's no overstating this guy's influence on the horror genre as it pertains to like the late 70s onward. That's when he got his start doing movies. To give you just a few of his most influential credits, his first movie, and he's a writer and director. He directed this movie specifically, but has written a lot of his own stuff. So you have Last House on the Left, Hills Have Eyes, Serpent in the Rainbow, The People Under the Stairs, and then probably most notably and influentially, he did A Nightmare on Elm Street, along
Uh-huh.
with many of its sequels, and he was also involved in the writing and directing of the first four Scream movies, which are probably his most influential works to date. That is a series that is still ongoing, and it is a series that is referenced constantly, not just in horror, but in pretty much every other genre under the sun at this point. Those
Yeah.
movies are the moment, you know? So that's
They're the
this
Star
guy.
Wars of horror. I'm
Honestly, in a
sorry.
lot of
I'm
ways,
sorry. I'm never gonna
it's
not do that bit when the opportunity comes up.
in the documentary, he specifically says, and this is a little bit of a misquote because I didn't catch all of it as I was cruising on by. He says, I didn't set out to be a big horror director, the world's scary guy. It just kind of happened.
It just kind of happened. What a glorious title. The world's scary guy.
Yeah, that's the part that I don't think I wrote down correctly, but more background info. When I am playing the DVD on the software that I have on my computer, sometimes if you try to go backwards a little bit, the entire thing freezes up and then crashes.
Hell
So
yeah.
sometimes you just have to miss things, but that's more or less what he said. He also talks a little bit about doing this movie as more or less his first thriller, because again, he does a lot of horror movies, didn't set out to do it, but that just ended up being what his lane was for so long. And he speaks on the difference, like you were talking about earlier, where for him, horror is about the vulnerability of the body. This is more about the vulnerability of the soul. That's not a statement I
Yeah.
fully agree with, but for this movie in particular, I think that is a good way to put into context what the difference is between what he has done up to this point and what he did for this movie.
Yeah. I can definitely see where he is coming from with that specific angle.
Yeah. And throughout both of the documentaries and also the filmmaker commentary, Craven and the producers and everyone who worked on this movie are extremely complimentary of this script, specifically of the character work in it. Ellsworth states that his intention of in writing the script was melding a character-driven story with a typical Hollywood action movie. Yeah, that's kind of exactly what this movie is. If you haven't already been sold on it, that's what you're gonna get out of this, and I think it's very fun and cool. Someone also refers to the characters as quote unquote complex and richly drawn, which is one of those statements that people just kind of make to blurb a movie or a book or really anything. But in this particular case, no, yeah.
No, yeah, these
Yes.
characters are richly drawn.
And
And
complex. Yeah.
yeah, I think a lot of that comes from the fact that the setting and set pieces are so limited
Hmm.
because we're going to get into this in the plot, but like most of this movie just takes place on this plane, specifically within this like set of two plane seats. That's
Hmm.
it. That's where basically everything happens in this movie until like the last like third of it.
Hmm. Yeah. And even there's a lot of secondary characters, a lot of them played by kind of friends of the production team and a couple of Wes Craven's regulars when it comes to working on movies. He loves a cameo because this is a horror movie and horror movies love their cameos. And all of those characters even are so instantly distinct. And part of that is definitely from the script and just, how many people they're just introducing just to have a couple of lines, people that we recognize so that way they can do things in the movie. But Craven and his team talk about how so often they would get someone to do this bit part and they would do it so well and with so much distinct personality that they would just keep giving them more lines so that they would have a bigger part in the movie and just flesh out this little world that they created on this airplane. And I think that's so cool and so fun, and it works. This movie just works. It's great.
It just fucking works. I'll talk about this, I think, more in the actual plot summary. This movie reminded me a lot of Tremors in its pacing and the way the setup all happens. If you have ever seen Tremors, well, first of all, if you have never seen Tremors, go watch Tremors. Fucking excellent movie.
Yeah, Tremors.
Second
rules.
of all, if you have seen Tremors, and if you've just gotten back from pausing this episode of the podcast to go and watch Tremors because that's what I told you to do, and you should listen, you will know that the opening of this movie, or of Tremors, is a lot of really, really expertly done foreshadowing.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of stuff at the forefront, which is introducing characters you'll see later, introducing, Chekhov's gun type scenarios, but also having like a really subtle build-up of tone that when the reveal happens, it's like it just smacks you in the face and you're like, oh, whoa, that's what this was all leading up to. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And this movie is very, very, very fucking good at that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about casting because again, there's a lot of little bit parts, but this movie almost entirely rests on the shoulders of two actors. Those, of course, being Rachel McAdams, who plays the main character, and Cillian Murphy, who plays this hot guy that she just kind of meets in an airport, and they just keep running into each other. And oh no, he's an assassin. He's an assassin, and he's threatening to kill her dad.
Yeah. Oh,
and
God.
The kind of idea that they had for casting these characters, and I neglected to write down who said this. I'm pretty sure it's Wes Craven.
Probably. 33% chance.
It's like a more like a 66% chance because this is from the short doc Wes Craven, a new kind of horror movie. Yeah.
And when you throw Kurt Angle into the mix.
But yeah, his take on it was everyone said it would be best to cast people who are really, really good, but not that well known. This comes after both The Notebook and Mean Girls for Rachel McAdams, but arguably those are both one kind of genre movies.
Yeah.
The Notebook specifically is a romance movie. The Notebook is huge, but it's still like...
Oh, yeah. It's huge,
not,
but it's a quote-unquote chick flick that appeals to a more niche kind of audience. But I will say, really cool casting choice, going for that kind of actor.
Yeah.
Or actress, or whatever you would call them. That kind of role, because you did talk about how this is almost tries to trick you into thinking it's a romantic comedy at first. So I think that's really cool.
And similarly, she was also in Mean Girls, which, watching that movie, you forget that it's Rachel McAdams, because she plays, I forget what her name is, but like the main Mean Girl, the blonde one.
Oh, fuck, I just had the name, and I don't...
Regina George,
right.
Regina George. And
That's her?
If you see her, yes. If you see her in that movie, if you see her in that movie, she's kind of unrecognizable if you've seen her in a lot of other things. And that was something that after watching those movies, Craven recognized is that she's this extremely versatile actor. She disappears into any role you give her. So even though she's in these kind of big blockbuster chick flick movies, you don't necessarily recognize that it's her. And they had one 45-minute meeting, and afterwards Wes Craven was like, I want you in my movie. You're gonna be my lead in this movie.
Yeah,
And she
it's
agreed
you.
to do it. Yeah. And yeah, that was the right choice. She's fucking phenomenal in this movie.
Fucking fantastic performance in this.
Meanwhile, Craven and producer Marianne Maddalena were a little bit unsure about Cillian Murphy, not because of his acting abilities. They were both him and Rachel McAdams were kind of first choices for them, but because he had a very thick Irish accent. This character that he plays is meant to distinctly be American. They wanted him to be an American character for reasons that we can talk about when we get more into the movie. But he has this very thick, distinguishable Irish brogue. And they were like, oh, we don't know. Like, we've never met the guy. He's in London. They get a call. This is how the story goes. And it's from Cillian Murphy's agent. And they're like, hey, where can Cillian Murphy meet you? He's flying to LA.
Oh, yes.
This is 2 days before his wedding. He flies out to LA to have lunch with Wes Craven and his producer in order to convince them that he should be in this movie. Apparently, he swears that he will learn how to speak American in time for the movie. Beautiful.
That's so fucking cool. I love it when people involved in art believe in it that fucking much and are that excited about it. Because, like I said, that's how you know it's going to be good.
He really does pull it off. If you didn't, like... This is one of those cases where, like, the accent never slips during the movie.
Never.
If you had told me that if I had never known who Cillian Murphy was, and I watched this movie and you told me this man is very, very Irish, no, he's not. What are you talking about? Yeah. What are you talking about?
I think what I know Cillian Murphy from, and what is probably his most, like, prominent modern appearance, other than Oppenheimer, which
fucking Oppenheimer
like, came out more recently, but like the big cultural touchstone I know Cillian Murphy from was Peaky Blinders, the Netflix series, where he plays like an Irish gangster, and his accent in there is, you know, very, very obviously, but yeah, no, hearing him in this movie was surreal, because if I closed my eyes, I would not be able to picture him or his voice at all.
One last fun little casting note. This is for an incidental character, but I think it just gives the vibe of this movie, just in terms of what it is like when you're not in the intense thriller storyline, but when you're just paying attention to everything else happening in it. One of the first characters that we meet is an irate customer at the hotel that Rachel McAdams' character, Lisa, manages. Mm-hmm. She's not physically present. She's on a trip. She's about to get on the red-eye flight to go home. But it is this kind of bitchy Karen-type character who's snapping at one of the employees. Why isn't all my shit perfect exactly the way I want it? Can I speak to the manager? Like, that specific character. When we watched this movie together, Heather, I said, oh, I recognize her from something.
Oh,
what is she in? I recognize her. Heather, no, I don't.
Oh.
I don't recognize her from anything. That is Terry Press, the head of marketing at DreamWorks, which is their big backing company that for the production side of things.
Oh, okay.
Wes Craven got her to be in the movie because the first time that he met her was after a marketing meeting that he attended with one of his guys who does things.
Oh.
And they see her at the head of this meeting, like ordering people around. And Wes Craven was like, that's her. That's the irate customer at the hotel. And he walks up to her. This is their first time speaking. And he says, I want you to be in my movie. I want you to be in the movie. And she was like, what? No.
What?
Ah.
No.
And basically like dismisses it. And he's like, no, no, no. I swear you're going to be able to do it. You're going to be in my movie. Please, please, Terry Press, you're going to be so good in my movie. And she eventually agreed to do it. And you would not be able to tell. You cannot tell that this woman has never acted in a movie before. She rules. It's so good.
That
But
kicks so much ass.
that's just like the energy of a lot of this movie is we're just doing it, we're doing it right, you know?
Doing it and doing it well.
Yes. Just such a fun little onto a bit more of the filming side of things. This was principally filmed on sets and sound stages in Los Angeles. And then there are, a few scenes that take place in an airport. And they filmed those at the Ontario International Airport near LA. And then also
Okay.
at the Miami Airport.
Yeah.
The plane set, like the plane that they're on, that was rented out from a company, one of several apparently, that like makes planes for movies to be filmed.
Oh, hell
And
yeah.
it was this plane in particular was a completely accurate model of a Boeing 767. That's also where the 232 seating pattern that you see on the movie comes from
Yeah.
because it's a Boeing 767. They apparently also they did a few like adjustments on it to make it look exactly how they wanted it to, but other than that, it's a completely accurate model. It's also they can also completely take it apart. They can take off different panels. They could remove seats for convenience when it came to filming and the such.
God.
This is where we get into
I was just gonna say, set building is so fucking cool.
it's so cool. This is where we get into my justification for why we can watch the movie
Oh,
before the
okay. Here's where it is.
Here, there it is. This is a Boeing model airplane. Forget all the bad shit you've heard about Boeing. I want you just Boeing is the airplane manufacturer. Like that's just what they are.
Yeah.
That's you hear about Boeing planes because they're the ones who make airplanes at this point.
Yeah.
One of the many companies that they have bought out or merged with over time is the Douglas Aircraft Company.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, the Douglas Aircraft Company developed a plane called the Douglas B-23 Dragon, was an American twin-engined bomber for back in the olden days
Oh my
of World War
goodness
II.
gracious.
So at one point, Boeing, the company, back when they were also the Douglas Aircraft Company, made a plane that was Dragon. And this is specifically a Boeing model airplane. Therefore, in the context of this movie, the airplane is a dragon.
When you pitched this to me for the first time, when you ran this by me, because this was incredibly early on in the development of this
Yes.
podcast. This was like an immediate thing. This has been sitting in your back pocket for like almost a year now.
Probably like 6 months to a year.
Probably
Yeah.
closer to 6 months to a year, but like, yeah. I I still don't. I'm still not fully on board with this, but it's too fucking funny to deny you. It's
Also,
the implication that because this plane that Boeing acquired was called a dragon, therefore like the descendants of this plane are also dragons.
and this is a spoiler going forward. This is going to be my justification for covering any movie with an airplane in it from now on.
We're
If I
gonna
want to talk
see about that.
if I want to talk about a movie that I think is fun and has an airplane in it, I think that I am now justified to talk about it outside of the month of April, which is Fool's Month, and I am a fool talking about my funny airplane movie. Like, I'm not gonna pull this card often, but if I find a movie that I think is funny and it has an airplane in it. I'm gonna ask you to talk about it with me on the podcast. And the
Okay.
dragon in the movie is the airplane.
Well, I have, for anyone who is upset by this notion that this airplane is a dragon, first of
Yeah,
all, cope.
you're
That's the bit
fine.
we're doing.
Yeah.
But second of all, maybe hold off on your anger for a moment because I have a different reason to justify this movie having a dragon in it.
Oh, excellent.
And depending on your perspective, it is either even more flimsy or slightly less flimsy, but still pretty flimsy. God.
In any case, talking a little bit more about the plane that is a dragon. Again, they could take apart this plane in order to film however they wanted, do their thing. A lot of times when filming specifically like the two seats that our main characters are in, they did not take apart the seats that were in front of them to get the camera in there because according to Wes Craven, it didn't look right. Like you could tell
Hmm.
that they had taken out those seats in order to
Oh.
film in there. And they wanted that claustrophilic.
Claustrophilic, yeah, where you're really excited about tight spaces.
They wanted that claustrophobic feeling of being on an airplane, so they would keep the seats in. And there's only one shot, they said, where they took out the seats in order to get a shot close up in there. Also, part of the rigging for this movie involved hooking up the camera to the ceiling of the airplane so they could, one, kind of slide it up and down the aisle, but also two, get those close-up shots without having to kind of physically put themselves like into the seats with the characters. They can
Yeah.
instead put the camera in there.
There were a couple shots where they like bring the camera down the one row and then it
Yeah.
like pans over the three middle seats and then continues down the
Uh-huh.
opposite row. And I was wondering how they pulled those shots off. I was thinking like, oh,
Yeah.
did they have some kind of like arm-based rig that could sweep the camera over shit?
Yeah. More or less, yes, because it was
Yeah.
just they stuck it on the ceiling. Great. Great work. I love shit like that.
Real cool. I love it when filmmakers are willing to. This is such a low bar, like saying it out loud, but I love it when filmmakers are willing to build shit to get their shots done. Like,
Yeah.
because you don't have to do that. You could just say, well, we'll just do a simple shot so we don't have to build a fucking machine to do this shot. But no, they build the
No.
thing. And that's so
Wes
cool.
Craven's a fucking professional. Speaking of professionals on his team, Ron Bolanowski was their
Hell
special
yeah.
effects dude. And also, I think he might have been, he's either special effects or stunt coordinator. I once again forgot to write this down when transferring over my notes because y'all, I took like 10 pages of handwritten notes for this thing. Some things got a little bit lost, and I apologize for that. But Ron Bolanowski, Wes Craven regular, someone he's worked with, built a deck beneath the plane. They had a deck that they sat the plane on.
Uh-huh.
And it was rigged with hydraulics to bounce the plane
Oh,
around,
fuck
either very
yeah.
gently or as if you're going through a very rough storm, which they do in this movie. So hey, you know all those shots where the characters are being bounced around in this movie because
They
they're going through the worst fucking turbulence. That was not the camera shaking. They were actually bouncing these assholes up and down on a fucking
That's
airplane with
so
hydraulics.
cool. That's
It was
so
so
fucking
fun learning
awesome.
about that.
I am just reminded of like the behind the scenes production shots of fucking Star Trek TNG where
Uh-huh.
they don't have a hydraulic floor. So you just hear the director yell shake and they all have to just physically shake in their chairs themselves
That
as if they're
rules.
being jostled around. It's so production is so fun. It's so cool and
Push
so
is so
fun
fun.
how different effects are achieved at different budgets.
Yeah. And they did kind of have a little bit of that because they apparently had a 1 second delay from when they kind of pushed the button or whatever they did in order to get the hydraulics going. And so they timed their dialogue to work in when the plane was going to jostle. And it's just
Oh, awesome.
movies take effort to make, and that rules, you know?
That fucking rules.
I love it. We did get one comment from Rachel McAdams that was like, this thing apparently looked fucking insane when you're just walking up to
Oh,
it on a set, you
God, I
know?
bet. I bet. Like,
Just
like, behind the scenes of, like, set production is one of my favorite things to look at
mhm.
because you're not supposed to see 90% of it.
I
And so
yeah.
there is no fucking concern or thought given to aesthetic appearance. It's pure function. And I love fucking looking at shit that's just designed for pure function.
I'm gonna show you when we get the chance some of the behind the scenes
Yay!
footage on the DVD because it's really fun because they'll have shots that are like inside the plane and it's like 100 extras who, as they say, like they had to keep them in the same clothes for like days on end and you had to get the same people sitting in the same place and so they would be have these like 10-hour production days
Oh
where
my
people are
god,
just
yeah.
sitting on an airplane and that's what it looks like because they don't take the plane apart. They want to get that feel of being on an airplane. And then they have those shots where you're on the soundstage and it's just like the body of a plane covered in tarps on a big deck
A
just in the
big
middle of a
hydraulic
warehouse.
deck. Oh my god.
And that's where
Crazy.
you your days because that's where they're filming most of this movie is on this plane. Another very fun special effects stunt coordinator combo. We'll point it out when they get there. But there is an explosion that happens in this movie. Something blows up.
Oh yeah.
Heather, that explosion was done practically.
Yes.
They built this set. They built this
Yes.
set of a hotel. And it's just like a corridor in a hotel. Like that's the practical explosion.
Oh my
And on the day
god.
that they need to blow this thing up, everybody leaves except for two stunt actors and Ron Bolanowski and his team. And for like 1.5 to 2 hours, they're all just sitting around while they're preparing shit. And then they're all told, hey, everyone be quiet. Everyone shut up.
Everyone shut the
The
fuck up.
explosion happens. and and it goes off perfectly. That was a one take shot.
Yeah.
No one gets injured. Everything is perfect. They all go back on set. They film what they need to on the exploded set because it's rigged up specifically so that they can film on it afterwards.
Yeah.
And when Wes Craven is talking about it, you can see he's just kind of like smiling just a little bit and he's kind of got his hands folded. He's talking about he is pleased as punch that they blew this thing up and
Yeah.
everything went according to plan.
Oh
Because
my god.
Heather, this movie, the production is so smooth from what we've been able to see. There's like everything was fine when making this movie.
Praise the fucking Lord. This is a breath of fresh air.
The timeline that they give is 5.5 months from the start to the end of production.
Wow.
Specifically, they wanted to get this movie out before Flight Plan, which is another 2005 thriller on a plane.
They
Wanted
had a
to
lot
get
of
that
those
sucker
in the
out.
2000s.
Because of 9/11. Like that's the
Oh,
entire.
fuck. 9/11. I forgot.
They
I
talk about
said I
9/11
wouldn't,
on the
but I
commentary.
did. They told me not to.
Well, this movie will not the commentary will not let you forget about 9/11 because that's something they talk about where like there's a lot of anxiety around flying now. And
Yeah.
so movies gonna fucking capitalize on it, you know? But they make this movie in this short amount of time specifically to beat that one out in theaters. It was 45 days of principal photography, followed by 3 days of reshoots, which, Heather, these reshoots included that opening montage, that opening montage of them moving around that crate full of
Right.
fish,
Right.
a big chunk of the ending fight scene, and that wrap-up scene of Lisa going back to the hotel and meeting up with her front desk friend and
Yeah.
the irate customer. That's all done in 3 days. That's three
Wow.
days of reshoots.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's
They make the
crazy.
they do the director's cut. They edit that director's cut in 5 days.
Fucking Wes Craven was fucking cooking, I guess.
No, this man had been working since like
Yeah.
as a writer director since the 70s. So this is
Yeah.
2005. The man knows what he's doing. The studio, presumably DreamWorks, because Wes Craven had his own studio, just like as a thing, he passed away in 2015. Everyone's mad, fucking mad sad about that. Wes Craven, you fucking legend. He is like the one person where I am sad that I will never get an opportunity to meet him. The studio, presumably DreamWorks, had never seen a movie finished so quickly while also being as like solid and complete is the word that they used. According to Wes Craven and his producers,
Yeah. Wow.
the studio told them they had never seen a movie finished that fast.
That's crazy.
So, all in all, this was a movie made with a $26 million budget, had a box office return of 96.2 million, so definitive commercial success. Also pretty much a critical success. This movie has very good reviews, and those are my that's my production notes.
Hell
That's
yeah.
the movie.
Hell
That's this
fucking
movie.
yeah.
85 minutes long. It is breezy.
And with that, actually, why don't we get into talking about Red Eye proper, like the actual movie that we're all here for?
A proper red eye.
A proper Red Eye.
Let's get
The,
tired.
yeah, the movie opens with like just white text on a black screen for the opening credits and the most intense music ever. It's low, it's got those orchestral strings. It's sinister, it's ominous, it's building up to something.
Yeah.
There's although there's one thing that broke the tension for me, which is Bender Spink Productions. Just the
Yeah.
juxtaposition of a name that funny over music this scary.
My note on this opening score is they name drop their composer, who is Marco Beltrami. He has worked with Craven for many years at this point, starting with Scream. He apparently did a few scores for Craven. It's very early 2000s thriller, this score. I like it a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. We cut from these
Yeah.
opening credits to photos of a girl at various stages of her life. We're like panning over. I don't know what you would call this actually, this piece of furniture. I guess cabinet, but it's like one of those like end tables that's not at the end of anything. It's like up against a wall. Houses have these. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah. It's like in an opening foyer
Yeah.
with a bunch of pictures
And
on it.
yeah, with a bunch of family photos of like just a daughter
Yeah.
and a wallet.
These are
Oh, wait, no,
these
go
are
ahead.
photos of young Rachel McAdams, is what I was gonna say. Because
Oh, like
yeah,
real? Like real photos?
yeah,
of
real
young
photos
Rachel
of Rachel McAdams when
Oh,
she was a
that's so
kid.
cool. That's so fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Although
But
we don't know this yet.
oh yeah, we don't know this yet. But there's a fella in the other room. He's placed his wallet on the furniture. I There's got to be a
Little
name
side
for these.
table.
Yeah, the little side table. He's put his wallet and his keys down. He's in the kitchen doing something. When suddenly, a hand from off screen suddenly reaches in and snatches that wallet,
Yeah,
and
takes
a
that
sting
wallet straight
in like a
away.
scary thriller sting plays,
Mhm.
and we cut to shrimp delivery.
We cut to shrimp delivery. We're going through a bit of a montage
Yeah,
where there is like a crate of fish is part of the montage. Crate of fish being loaded into car, big burly men taking care of this crate of fish. And then
Yeah.
there's also shots.
Redfish with
There's
eyes.
also yeah, red eyes. And then there's also some pictures of a hotel. There's some shots like of an outside and also an interior of a hotel. And then importantly, we're going through the wallet a little bit. And we're
Yeah.
seeing another picture of Rachel McAdams. And then these are all cut together.
Yeah.
And then also at
Yeah.
some point the crate of fish is opened up and there's a different box in there. And that gets
Yeah.
loaded into a car to
It's
go somewhere.
the pacing here is breakneck. But
Yeah.
we're getting so many like little details so fast. Like as this unseen person is rummaging through the wallet, we're like in a dimly lit like we can see it's like we're looking at it from like over their shoulder, but we can only see their hands. And you get like little glimpses of where we are. It's like, okay, we're in some like weird dimly lit hotel room as he's going through these cards. He's going through all of them and then like throws them in the trash. He empties out the wallet, ditches the cards. And yeah, the fish, like the fish crate, it's like fish packed in ice, and then they open up the crate and then they hit the ice and it all falls away, and it's this big like silver attache case. Or I don't know if it's an attache case. That's probably not the right word.
Yeah.
But it's a big fucking
Whatever.
bin. Attache is smaller than that.
Yeah. Let's see. What am I doing?
What are we doing?
Okay.
Well, what we're
Yeah,
doing
well-
is cutting to a shot of the hotel, the Lux Atlantic.
In the Lux Atlantic, in this hotel,
Yeah.
we get a fun little scene of a couple arguing with a front desk person. This is where Terry Press comes in, who is playing the irate customer, the marketing manager at DreamWorks.
Yes.
She's having so much fun.
She's having so
And
much fun. She's killing it.
they're arguing with Cynthia, who we're going to see throughout the movie as kind of this flustered but competent front desk woman. And she gets so flustered with these two customers that she calls Lisa, who is our main character, played by Rachel McAdams.
Yes.
She's in a car. The customers specifically request her and are like, we know Lisa. If Lisa was working, she would never get anything wrong.
Yeah,
And
this is... I was going to say, this is like clearly... Cynthia is clearly covering a shift she is not used to covering.
yeah, but in calling Rachel McAdams from wherever she is, Lisa is able to fix everything, and they might still be mad at Cynthia, but their problem has been resolved because
Yes.
that is what's being set up right now, is that Rachel McAdams is a competent fucking hotel manager.
Yeah,
She
Lisa
knows
is
what she's
so
doing. People like her.
fucking good at her job, and also her grandma is dead. Which
Also her grandma is
we
dead.
we learn because Cynthia says, "Oh, Lisa is out of town because she's at her grandmother's funeral," and the customers are being like, "I don't give a shit. Call her, call her, call her. We're
Fuck her
calling
dead grandma."
corporate. Call
Yeah.
her, or we're calling corporate." Which is like, wow, okay, but Lisa passes this wisdom on to Cynthia. There are no guests who are assholes, only guests with special needs, which is the most, like, delivered in the most, like, dry, corporate, it is what it is voice you have ever heard.
Yeah. This girl may or may not be lost in the sauce, but she's at least going to communicate to her underlings that, yeah, this is how we got to do things. Sorry, bud.
And Cynthia is so nervous and so overwhelmed, and she starts talking to Lisa about, like, the goings-on today that she's been missing, and she mentions a security check that she's got to do for some kind of Homeland Security guy who's coming in. And
Yes.
Lisa's like, yeah, no, this is all standard procedure. He comes here often. Just make sure to have, like, this and this ready for him, and your gravy.
Yes. Yeah, this customer's name is Mr. Keefe, and I say his name because it's just going to be easier for us to refer to him going forward by
Yes.
his name.
Keefe.
So,
Keefe is the name.
Mr. Keefe. I always want to call him Mr. O'Keefe, like Georgia O'Keefe, but
Yeah.
no.
But as she's trying to talk to Cynthia, she was also getting another call from another person who she puts on hold.
Mhm.
And when she finally gets back to him, this is her dad.
Yes,
And
played by
they're
Brian
talking.
Cox.
Yeah, they're talking. And we get like just little snippets of like their conversation of just, oh, how are you doing? How was the funeral? You're on your way back now. That's good. How's your mom doing? Which, like, the implication is very clear there that her parents are separated.
Hmm.
But he also mentions that he's lost his wallet. He's like,
Yeah,
oh
his
yeah,
wallet's
oh
gone.
yeah, their house is being renovated and his wallet is missing.
Yeah, and
Which
as
we
yeah,
know. We know where
yeah,
it went.
we know where it went. Yeah, as they're talking on the phone, also Lisa has gotten out of her taxi and is making her way through the airport. And at the same time, we're also cutting back and forth between her and her dad, who was walking through this house that Lisa clearly grew up in because like her room that she has completely is completely kind of like preserved. All of her stuff is there from
Yeah.
when she was a kid,
Untouched. It's
untouched.
yeah.
It's very sweet, but also this is giving us a good layout of the house for later.
For later.
Also, Craven, in the director's commentary, talks about directing this scene where he instructed the actors to move in the same directions and was kind of cutting in between them as they're moving throughout their separate environments as a way of indicating that Lisa kind of gets her drive and her like
Her
her energy
moxie.
from her dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like it's just a very small moment of character building for both of them, and I like it.
Yeah, that's really cool. But Lisa tells her dad, "Oh, Dad, I'm taking the red eye to Miami
Whoa.
from Dallas
Whoa.
specifically." And
Okay.
because he was saying, do you need someone to pick you up from the airport? Because I can pick you up from the airport. He's so sweet, and she's like, Dad, I'm not getting in until like 6 in the morning or whatever. The
It
implications
doesn't
be like,
matter.
yeah, if you wanted to pick me up from the airport, you would have to be up like all night,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna do
After
that to you, Dad. Also, my
yeah.
flight got delayed anyway, so it's going to be even more of an obscene time.
Yeah. Flight got delayed. She hangs up with her dad, and now she has to stand in line for security because this is a post 9/11 movie, guys. This
Post
is
9/11.
yeah, we're still getting used to security lines. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, she stands in line and there's a couple different people, a couple different characters she meets in this. The first person she bumps into is a kindly older woman
Oh, I love her.
who immediately notices the book that Lisa is reading, which
Yeah.
is a Dr. Phil self-help book that her dad specifically gave to her.
God.
And
Fuck Dr.
and
Phil.
fuck Dr. Phil. Lisa also kind of thinks this because the woman starts chatting her up, and Lisa is kind
Yeah.
of like, you know what? I've already read this.
Sorry,
You can have it, and she
yeah.
she just gives it right to the woman.
I have
Yeah.
to point out a detail that you glossed over that I love about this character. When Lisa
Okay.
bumps into her, she like bumps into her with her suitcase, and she's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And the sweet old lady turns around, smiling, beaming, and goes, "It's okay. I've got my comboot bats on today. Combat. I've got my
Convo?
No, shut up. I've got my combat boots on today because
Rules.
air travel is war now."
Yeah.
I love this character. How dare you make fun of me?
Com boots. Um,
Comboot
yeah.
bats.
Travel to comboot bats. Yeah, travel is war, and in order to combat the boredom of flying on a red-eye flight, she is going to now get this Dr. Phil book that Lisa so graciously but also so gratefully presses onto her because now she doesn't have to read Dr. Phil on the fucking airplane anymore.
Thank God.
And I would also just kind of putting it in the backs of everyone's minds. There's a hot this is guy who's standing in line behind Lisa who's kind of hot.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
kind of hot. Anyway,
we can't talk about him right now because there's a rude guy who's not hot
there's a rude guy
talking.
who was so unattractive to us.
Unattractive, not even just physically, just like, hey, you're being a dick to a
Yeah.
service worker. That's the least sexy thing you can do.
The one of the attendants at one of the TSA agents, I should say, I guess, invites people who are late to a flight that's or something. She's
Yeah.
like, all of you come up, let's go. And this guy's being like, hey,
This
why are you
guy,
telling these people to get on the plane that they booked?
yeah,
I was waiting here first.
this guy who I guess has literally never heard of an airport before is
Yeah.
getting mad. And he starts making this her problem, like she's the one who delayed his flight and canceled it and moved shit around. And Lisa, because she's fucking great and understands the concept of worker solidarity, starts to diffuse this situation and is like, hey man, come
Hey,
on.
man.
What are you
Come the
doing? And
fuck up.
oh shit, sexy Cillian Murphy has jumped in now. He's been
Hey,
there
sexy.
literally the whole time.
He's been there the whole time, standing a little bit too close, but you kind of didn't notice him because other things
Yeah,
were going on.
no, not just other things are going on, because I went back at this, like, when I was rewatching this, I went back through this scene, because I was, like, in disbelief that he was literally there the whole time. Because, like,
Yes.
when I was rewatching, I forgot when he jumped in exactly, and when he
Hmm.
showed up, I'm like, there's no way he was there the whole time, but no. He
Yep.
was there the whole time, but they specifically framed the shots, so he is never fully in frame or fully in focus until the instant he jumps in.
Yes.
He's just there in the background. He's just some guy until he's not. And I think that's really fun.
It's also the way that he kind of interjects himself into the scene is so masterfully done and cut and acted because he jumps in at Lisa's defense and you're like, oh, this guy is like being so cool. Like he's, you know, the way that he's kind of doing it, he's not talking over Lisa. He's diffusing the situation because it's an angry man, and sometimes you need another man to step in.
Yeah.
Hi, I've worked customer service for 10 years. Sometimes you need a man to step in. Like it's just one of
Yeah.
those things. And it's like, oh, that's so cool he's stepping in. He grabs this guy by the
Yeah.
arm,
Yeah.
and it's uncomfortable.
It's really
And you're
uncomfortable.
really and you're willing to forgive it because you're like, oh, but he's defending her. No,
Yeah.
this is the start of it.
Yeah.
This is the
He
start of something,
he
and I love
looks
it.
at this dude like he's killing him with psychic beams. His
Which
gaze is so fucking intense.
and which it works for Cillian Murphy because he's got like those gorgeous baby blue eyes, which Craven and Madalena like talk about, where they're like, yeah, you meet this guy in person, and his eyes are so beautiful and so scary, and I love that.
Yeah, sorry,
Um,
we're about to spend the next like hour and a half talking about how hot Cillian Murphy is. We will not
he's like
apologize again.
he's like in his late 20s in this movie, and he's just at like the perfect age, you know. This man is hot in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
But he's not scary yet.
Yeah,
We still like him right now.
yeah.
But also he
And
grabbed that guy's arm.
yeah, he grabbed that guy's arm, but also now he's talking to Lisa, and hey, they're on the same flight, and ooh, he's a little flirty. He's a little
Oh, flirty.
flirty. Wow. And hey, he seems to know about the hotel that she works at
Yeah.
because he like starts talking, like chatting her up basically, and like she brings up, "Oh, I'm like, yeah, I'm flying back. I work at a hotel." And he's like, "Oh, like the Hilton, the Marriott?" She's like, "Oh, the Lux Atlantic or whatever the fuck it's called. Yeah, Lux Atlantic." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, that hotel. I know about that."
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where he kind of brings up he brings up like the restaurant because like he's like, "Oh, our flight got delayed, that sucks, but hey, there's a really cool like Mexican place with like great
Oh,
nacho
that's
or
great, yeah.
Tex-Mex place with great nachos." And he invites her specifically, and she's like a little fuzzled, like, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, was that like too much, was that like too forward, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
make you uncomfortable." And she's like, "No, it's fine, it's fine, I've got like some calls I need to make, it's yeah." Because
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, I'll
But
save you a seat."
yeah. Yeah, but she's clearly very attracted to him.
Yeah,
Like there's
which,
definitely
can you
an
blame
energy to
her?
this. Yeah.
Can you blame her?
He is standing a little bit too close, but like you can't blame him for that. It's
You
crowded.
can't, yeah, you can't really,
It's
like, not be
crowded.
close in an airport line. Speaking of airport lines, this is where we get a kind of another sort of quick-paced series of like establishing moments,
Hmm.
because we're getting introduced to some other people who are going to be on this flight. For example, an unaccompanied minor named Rebecca.
Hello,
She's with her mom,
Rebecca.
being handed off to like the flight attendant, and she's like,
Hmm.
"I'm fine, mom. It's okay." And the flight attendant is like, "Oh, Rebecca, you must be very brave." And she is. And we will
She
see
is.
that. Trust me.
Re- I
This girl's so brave with it.
I love some Rebecca. I'm enormously charmed by her. Lisa is also very charmed by Rebecca, just as much as she is charmed by young hot Cillian Murphy, who, oh hey, he's at the restaurant.
Yeah, he's at
He's
the
at the
restaurant,
restaurant waiting
but
for her.
yeah, but before she could join him, another lady walks into her with an iced mocha latte.
And dumps the entire thing on her.
The entire thing. And Lisa has a look on her face that is just peak, because it's like that like smile with like eyes kind of like looking upwards of just wow, like that fucking wow, fuck me, I guess look of just where like everything has been so shitty that it's just funny to you now.
Yeah, and apparently that look is very real because Rachel McAdams was not expecting that much coffee to be spilled on her. Like it's the entire thing of like a large iced coffee, and
Yeah.
that was apparently a little bit more than she was told it was going to be.
Oof.
And then the perpetrator of this crime against her, because they just kind of run into each other. It's not
Yeah.
a thing. But this woman then yells, "Hey, honey, go to Starbucks. I need another coffee. Someone's wearing it." And it's
Yeah. She's
such a
funny.
great line.
She's funny. She just starts yelling at some guy off screen.
Every
Oh my
single
god.
every single bit part in this movie fucking rules.
I love this scene. I think I mentioned this earlier in the episode, because what, like I said, this feels to me like the opening to one of my favorite movies, Tremors,
Uh-huh.
which does like establishing and set up really well, where you have very brief moments with these characters, but you immediately get like a bead on what their deal is,
Yeah.
and it just feels completely natural as you're watching it. Just, oh, this is just shit that's happening, and then it all comes back and it's all important. It's great.
Speaking of,
This is how you make a movie.
this is how you make a movie. And speaking of that, I think that transitions really well into this next moment where Lisa goes into the bathroom to change into something that isn't covered in coffee, so she's not wearing an iced latte anymore.
Yes.
And she takes off her shirt, and it's this kind of fun misdirect because it's not a horror movie, as Wes Craven kind of establishes. It's a thriller, but you think for a second you're getting kind of like a racy shot because she's taking her clothes off. But
Yeah.
no, this is specifically so that she can look in the mirror and you see that she has a scar on her. Excuse me,
Yeah.
she has a scar on her chest.
Yeah, like a
And
long, kind of like slightly curved, like scar, like perpendicular to like her chest.
yeah, and she notices it and kind of gets this look on her face. And Craven and Madalena kind of talk about doing screenings for this movie, wherein it's all like a bunch of like kind of young guys in the audience were like, "Oh," when she took off her shirt, and then there was like a hush when the audience realized what was happening. And I just think that's fun and cool.
Awesome. That is fun and cool. Speaking of
Yeah.
fun and cool, she decides to meet with Cillian Murphy after all. And
Hey,
he's
she's
so
gonna
fun
go
and
sit down with
cool.
the guy.
He almost guesses what drink she's gonna order. He like does
Almost.
this psychoanalyst bit on her where he's like, "Oh, you're not like," he's like, probably something with vodka." But like he narrows it down to like a vodka drink, and he goes, "Oh, but are you gonna go for grapefruit or pineapple?" I'm
Mhm.
thinking you're gonna order a sea breeze. And she kind of smirks at him and then orders a bay breeze,
Hey,
which is exactly like a sea breeze, but it uses pineapple instead of grapefruit juice.
yeah.
It's a little strange. It's a little bit of a strange moment, but she's like, oh, that's cool. You're pretty good at that. And he's like, yeah, it's a great party trick.
Hmm. Yeah, she is enormously charmed by this.
Yeah.
And
This is where I would say my first red flag is.
yeah, they talk about that in the filmmaker's commentary about where they want these mic drop moments to kind of happen. And they specifically worried that the audience was going to catch on to this scene in particular, in this restaurant scene, because the kind of the idea, the way that they marketed this movie, they really didn't advertise in it that Cillian Murphy was going to be like scary. It's
Yeah.
If you've ever seen the preview for this, it can kind of be read as a bit of a romantic comedy in the beginning that
Yeah.
turns into a thriller, but they're not necessarily letting on what the thriller aspect of it is. And so at this point in the movie, they very much want it to be that, like, that misdirect. And so they apparently cut out like a good 40 to 60 seconds of this scene in order to really tighten it up and try their best to continue to misdirect you if you really don't know what's going on. But this moment in particular, they left in and deliberately kind of had him looking at her and trying to figure her out, because he knows that she orders Bay Breezes. He knows that,
Yeah.
but she doesn't.
Yeah. Well, he guesses Sea Breeze.
Oh, sorry, Sea Breeze.
Yeah.
My apology.
No, but
My apology.
You're apologize. But
My apologies.
yeah, the romantic comedy angle is so fun. Cause yeah, no, you could, cause like it's almost like meta in a sort of way, because yeah, hey, a lot of romantic comedy meet cute stuff, like divorced of its context, is super creepy actually.
Yeah.
So like you would watch this movie and not knowing what it is, be like, oh, this is one of those. This is one of those.
And one of my notes in here is specifically on the rom-com element and also the chemistry between Murphy and McAdams, because they are palpably like attracted to each other, or at the very least interested and engaged with each other. A lot of close-up shots in this. It feels so intimate despite the fact that they're in a busy airport.
Yeah.
And like, I've seen romantic comedies where the actors don't have nearly as much chemistry as these two do. And that's so much of what makes this movie work, is that is there the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get, like, in this intimacy, like, she's sipping on the Bay Breeze and she kind of has a reaction to it. Like, ooh, like, I wasn't expecting it to taste that strong or something. And he asks, oh, are you okay? Like, how is it? Like, is there something wrong? And she gets a little touchy at this. And she brings up her dad. She's like, oh, you're like my dad. He'd always ask if I'm okay. Like, even when it didn't make sense. And he's like, oh, okay, I apologize. And they start building a rapport here of talking about themselves. Yeah. And he mentions here that his name is Jackson. And she's like, oh, like Jack. And he goes, no, I haven't gone by Jack since I was a kid, because my last name is Ripner. And
this guy's full name is Jackson Ripner.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, like Jack the Ripper. Oh, that's wild. Like, I'd be so mad at my parents if that happened. He's like, yeah, I was mad at them too, up until I killed them. And there's like a beat of silence, and then she laughs like, oh, wow, you're doing bits. That's funny.
Yeah.
We are building. We are building here.
We're building. And it's also, they do something both clever, but also story related here, because Lisa mentioned she hasn't really done something like this for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And so that's like a nugget for later, but it also gives her and also the audience the excuse of, oh, maybe this guy's not actually being weird. Maybe I'm just sensitive because I'm not used to doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Which, as... like, I haven't been on too many dates, but I have been hit on a lot, and that is something that that is going constantly in your mind, you know, of, am I hypersensitive, or is this fucker being a fucking weirdo, you know?
Like,
and it's
whose vibes are off here?
Whose vibes are off? It's so... God, this movie's so good.
Yeah,
This movie's really good.
Yeah, I will say, like, this specific scene, like, even without the context of what's happening later, if you're perceptive, you can kind of pick up on the tone of this joke. The tone of it being testing the waters. Like,
Yeah.
this is there are people who have, like, you know, oh, dark sense of humor and all that, but like, no, genuinely, like, I like, yeah, some people have a dark sense of humor, but there's a vibe you can pick up sometimes where
Yeah.
it's clear that what they are making an off-color joke specifically to gauge your reaction to it, to see
Yep.
what they can get away with. And
Yeah.
this is like very, it's subtle, but that is clearly the tone of what he's doing here. Because
Yeah.
he says it and then immediately like stops talking, his face goes like still, and he looks like directly at her. Like, and what are you gonna do about this? What are you gonna do? How
Yeah.
are you gonna react to this joke I just made? It's
What are you
great.
gonna do?
It's
Yeah.
great. Cillian Murphy, he's letting like he's showing the cracks on purpose, and that's like really cool, and really that's really cool acting.
They finish up at the restaurant
Yeah.
and we move to the gate where they're going to wait for the plane.
Yeah.
And important moment at 4:16, Kyle Gallner is here. Heather doesn't know who this guy is. I do.
Is
Kyle
this the
Gallner.
brother? Are these the
This is what,
brothers?
yeah, this is the brother of one
The
of the kid. This
brothers.
is there
Okay.
are two teenage boys who are going to be on the flight. One of them is credited as something like boy on plane, and the other is boy on plane's brother, which is a very funny
That's
like
that's awesome.
note. It's great. Kyle Gallner is brother of boy. If you don't know who he is a horror movie staple actor at this point. He's been in a lot of things. Probably the biggest movie that he's been in, if you don't know horror movies, is Jennifer's Body. He is one of the guys who gets killed by the titular Jennifer. Go him. But yeah, he's in a lot of horror movies nowadays. I just think it's fun to spot him in this movie. Kyle Gallner spotted.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where
also,
I
yeah.
I was going to say they actually haven't left the restaurant yet. We're getting this shot of the
Oh, okay.
gate right before they leave. And
Okay.
what we're getting a lot of really cute like establishing shots of a bunch of different people just waiting at this gate. One of them is like clearly a father with like five teenage daughters with him, like all
Yeah.
leaning up in a line up against him. There's like kids playing on the floor with toys. A lot of that.
Yeah.
And we see the Homeland Security guy is on TV. He's on the news. He's the
He's
deputy
on the news.
secretary, and he's like doing like an outspoken and daring speech, I guess. It's very post 9/11.
Very
He's like,
post
"Oh,
9/11.
I believe in diplomacy, but you have to get their attention first. Do I
Yeah.
have your attention?" He says, looking directly at the camera. Everyone's like, "Whoa, whoa, he's a bad boy." And
Wow.
the meet cute kind of ends
Uh,
here,
hold on, hold
where
on, hold on. Sorry.
oh,
Hold
okay.
on. Go back to Charles Keith
Oh yeah.
because I think this is an interesting detail. In the original script, Keith was just written as a rich or powerful businessman, and they deliberately changed it to be
Mm.
someone from Homeland
Yeah.
Security.
Specifically
And
the deputy secretary, I should mention. This is
specifically,
where we learn he's specifically the deputy secretary. So he's like up there.
yeah, but they made that change to once again play into what is happening in this movie because this is secret. This is a terrorist attack against him. So like I just think that's a smart change to make. If
Yeah.
you are someone who is writing, hey, small details matter. You always want to be leading back to the same point, and this is one of these small moments that they're doing that.
There's a gate call, everyone's clapping, and Ripner gets a cell phone call, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have to take this. I'll see you later. It was nice meeting you." And as he's walking away, he's like, "Yeah, nope, no, there's still time. Yeah, no, we're getting on now. There's still time." And it's like, "Oh, okay, he's
Okay.
taking like some kind of business call."
Yeah, it's just a business
Yeah,
call. And Lisa, she looks a little bit disappointed because she had like a nice
yeah.
drink with this hot guy.
But yeah, Lisa gets on the plane. Like the brothers also like push past her. They're like, "Whoa, we gotta go, bro. We gotta get
Yeah.
on the
We
plane."
see We see a few more fun cameos. The dad that you mentioned earlier, that's screenwriter Carl Ellsworth.
Oh, hell
When Lisa
yeah.
gets on the plane, there's a couple of people that she really doesn't want to
Yeah.
sit with, and some of them are like
It's a
people,
fucking
yeah.
who's who of undesirable long flight seats. There's like a guy eating noodles. There's someone snoring. There's a dude like listening to music really loud and like air drumming.
There's my favorite guy is he's just like kind of a normal looking guy, but he's like in his 40s maybe. And as soon as he sees Lisa, he like crosses his arms and self nods her. And it's like, yeah, see, it would have been fine to sit next to you until you did that. And that's my favorite guy on the plane.
Yeah.
I love
Hey.
that. It's so real.
God. Yeah. But
But
as
then,
she's yeah, as she's
yeah.
walking to her coach seat. Hey, who is that?
Hey, who is that sitting in that seat? And now for the first time, there's like a look that passes over her face. It's like, wait, hold on, this is weird. And then she goes, oh, but he's hot and I've talked to him. This is okay, actually.
Oh, this is actually a nice thing the universe is doing for me.
Yeah. And he makes the joke, oh, what, are you stalking me or something? Because we
Yeah, you're
keep
not
like meeting up
stalking
like
me,
this.
are you?
Yeah.
And again, it's that tone. It's that testing the waters tone.
Cillian
He's
Murphy, yeah.
and because you don't know yet, you're like, what the fuck what vibe is he trying to pick up on here? Like, what is
And
he
he's,
trying to work out?
yeah, because he's so, like, Cillian Murphy just has that face where he just looks at you and you're like, is this the hottest guy ever, or does he want to eat me? Like,
Yeah. Or both.
or both.
Yeah,
And
or
would I be
both.
mad about it?
Yeah, would I yeah. Fucking this is like we watched American Psycho together at one point. Not
Yeah,
for this podcast, just as
not for this
friends because we're allowed to do that.
one.
And it has infected me with like a specific brain worm where I am like noticing Patrick Bateman likes in like and Cillian Murphy is absolutely like what he's doing here is like a very very Patrick Bateman vibe to me where he's like I have to go return some tapes at the video store ass shit where he's like oh you're not stalking me are you, and then like the face he makes and the way he looks at her is very like this is a dude who is like weird and unhinged in a very specific way that is
Yeah.
impossible to pick up on.
Yeah. He is also because like you said, he's still testing the waters, but he's also notably starting to get short-tempered because he's bantering with Lisa and this one woman who's very like early 2000s platinum blonde. I think she's
Yeah.
wearing some kind of animal print shirt. She's like, "Hey, can you to Cillian Murphy, who is Lisa's in the window seat and he is in the aisle seat because they are on the two-seater row.
Yeah.
This is important. This is an important detail. So get that in your
Yeah,
mind.
this is
They're
a
towards the back of the
232
plane.
plane.
Yeah, they're close to the back of the plane, maybe 3 rows up from the bathroom. This is important. I'm saying this for reasons.
I would
But
say more than 3 rows. Like I would say like
they're
maybe 10.
but you get what I
They're
mean.
not
You're
like right there.
relatively
Yeah.
close to the back of the plane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
relatively close.
But yeah, this woman looks at Cillian Murphy and she's like, "Hey, I need help lifting up my suitcase. Can you help me lift and overhead?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it," but like looks visibly annoyed. And and
There
Lisa's charmed because she's like, "Oh, he's still helping her," but
I
he's like visibly
yeah.
annoyed by
When you
this.
say visibly annoyed, I want to point this out cuz like this whole time it's almost the exact same expression he's had on with Lisa. Like it's
Yeah.
this same like charming smile and everything, but you can see like the exact second it becomes forced. Like
Yeah.
like the exact second it is now too hard for him, like it's gotten too hard for him to maintain, and it's this moment where you see him turn and he's smiling and it very suddenly like instantly looks like the fakest shit you've ever seen, and it's
Yeah.
really impressive facial acting here, like
But
good job Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, but also Heather, we can assume it's because he likes Lisa so much. He's annoyed
Yeah.
that he has to be pulled away from Lisa.
Oh,
That
of course.
sucks.
That's obviously what it
Yeah.
is. What else would it
Yeah.
be?
What else would it be? We get another kind of establishing shot of like the woman with the Dr. Phil book. She's also in this flight. She says hi to Lisa. She's going to her seat.
Yeah,
The
she's a couple rows
unaccompanied
behind her.
minor is here. Yeah, unaccompanied minor is here. We
Couple
start
rows ahead.
getting or a few rows ahead. We start getting some like interactions with the flight attendants. Like there's one who is like a middle-aged woman with red hair, and then there's like a younger probably in her like 20 something flight attendant, and they start getting a little bit of personality,
Yeah, one
specifically
of
like
them, I was gonna
yeah,
say one of them is kind of flirting with Cillian Murphy because he's so young and hot.
back to just like plot details. Ripner gets a phone call as they're all settling in. He kind of like nods and gets like confirmation of something,
It's like,
and
oh, so it's definitely happening?
yeah,
5:30. Uh-huh. Done
uh-huh,
deal. He's
done
like,
deal.
work. Ugh. For the last
Mhm.
time.
For the last time. For the last time. Okay. 20 minutes and 15 seconds in, we get an external good big shot of the airplane.
Yep.
This is our dragon. Fresh Air
This is
Airlines.
your dragon.
This is my dragon. This is the Fresh Air
Yeah.
airline Boeing 767 plane.
Yeah. And we get a shot of, like, an internal shot of the flight attendant shutting the door and sealing it up for takeoff.
Yep.
There's this,
Great.
it's a very punctuated
Yeah.
scene.
There's a lot of great tension
Yeah.
with just like being sealed in. Lisa's clearly a little bit of a nervous flyer.
Yeah.
Everyone's settling in. This
We see
scene
Jax.
specifically.
Oh, I was gonna
Yeah.
say we see as Lisa's settling in, we see Jackson set his watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sets his watch. The music is kind of grumbling in the background, I would say.
Lisa has flight anxiety. We get a really cool shot of like the camera sweeping over Rose as it moves towards the back of the plane, and all of like the overhead lights are off except for the ones above Lisa's seat, so it frames
Yeah.
them in this like really cool standout way. It like really brings the focus to her, and she looks really anxious, really scared. Ripner looks like totally calm, cool, and collected, and he starts chatting her up here. Well,
Yeah.
he like starts talking to her and like to distract her, and he's
We
like asking about her grandma and all that. And finally the shaking stops, the flight levels out. Lisa breathes a sigh of relief and turns to him and says, oh, thank you for distracting me. And he looks at her and goes, oh, that's not really what I'm doing. And the tone shift has happened. He's scary now.
Yeah. Of note, I don't think we made this clear. The plane is taken off. It's in the sky now.
Yeah, we are in the air.
They
There's
had the
nowhere
most
to go.
turbulent takeoff. They had the most turbulent takeoff of all time. It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks, but not as much as what Lisa is about to hear, where he says, oh, no, that's not what I was doing. I'm talking to you. I'm trying to keep the focus on you and your dad. And she's like,
Yeah.
what, are you a therapist? And he's like, no, I'm an assassin. I kill people, and I'm here to involve you with my plot. And he then pulls out the wallet we saw at the start of the thing, and he goes, and I'm going to have your father killed if you don't cooperate. Here's his wallet.
Here's
And
his
you
wallet.
see her blood turn to fucking ice. Like, there's moments... Sorry, I skipped ahead a bit. There's, like, she's like... here is where she is like, okay, ha ha ha, is this like a joke? Is this like just one of your weird jokes? Because now the vibes are off and I don't know what to do. And he's like, no, it's not a joke. This isn't a joke, haha, funny. No, I'm serious.
The specific like mic drop line is my business is all about you, which
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah. He says
It's great.
Yeah,
It's great.
She tries to take the out of this uncomfortable joke she thinks he's having, where she's like, oh well, If that's what you do, that's none of my business. He's like, see, normally that'd be true. Normally that'd be true, but no, I'm here specifically to involve you in your plot. Here's your dad's wallet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
God,
When
it's
they
so
do,
scary.
it's so good. They compare this moment to Scream once again. If you've never seen Scream, if you're into horror movies, please watch at least like that the opening scene. It is
God,
so brilliant.
of
Um, but
course
they
it's like
compare
Scream. Fuck.
yeah, but they compare the "My business is all about you" line to when Drew Barrymore picks up the phone and the guy is finally like, "I want to know who I'm looking at."
Yeah.
Great mic drop moment.
Yeah, this is scary. This is so scary
This is
with it.
scary. Cillian Murphy is now scary as well as hot, and it rules.
Yeah. She is panicking. Like, understandably so. She looks like she's like about to cry, and you see her like glance towards one of the flight attendants, or she presses the flight attendant call button, and he goes, haha, yeah, by the way, this monogrammed wallet for your dad, JR, hey, funny, also my initials, and by the way, I replaced all the cards in it with my own. So they're
Uh-huh.
just gonna think you're crazy if you
Yeah,
accuse me right here. And also, if
yeah,
you
and
accuse
also,
me, I will have your dad killed.
yeah, I will have your dad killed. Like I'm the thing that is standing in the way of that happening, which is why when the flight attendant comes, Lisa keeps quiet and she is
Yeah.
crying and she's trying to calm
She,
herself down.
yeah.
And Cillian Murphy turns.
Yeah, no, I was going to say he also describes what's going to happen to her dad if she doesn't do what he says. And he's like, I've got a guy sitting outside of his house at this specific address, by the way. I'm not joking. I know where he is.
Yeah,
And he is doing this right now. Like, this is what
yeah,
he's doing.
yeah. When the flight attendant finally shows up, because they're kind of like already prepared to more or less not believe her because of uh
Woman.
sorry, because woman, and also as they say in the commentary, like flight attendants are at this point in history so done with shit. Like
Yeah.
one of the flight
They're
attendants
over it.
specifically says, like, she specifically talks about not getting a pension, which is a thing that started happening
Yeah,
back
thanks,
in
Reagan.
like, yeah, thanks Reagan, but also because of 9/11, a lot of that got fucked up, like
Yeah.
straight up. Like that's something that they refer to specifically, so they're already kind of prepared not to take her seriously. And Cillian Murphy is like, oh, she's okay, she just found out about a death in the family, which
Yeah.
is such
A
an
fucking,
unhinged
yeah.
thing to
Fucking
say.
brutal threat. Brutal double entendre there. It's like, oh
Rules.
yeah, oh she's upset. Death in the family.
Yeah.
It's
Oh well.
again that fucking testing the waters tone, but like it's not like the testing the waters tone anymore. It's just, yeah, we're here. The vibes are
We're here.
annihilated and I don't need to pretend anymore.
Yeah. The vibes are rancid and you're in hell.
Yeah, it's just this knife twisting that he is just engaged in completely now.
Yep. It's scary
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy time.
He tells her that he needs her to call the hotel and have Keith moved to room 4080. And also he's a misogynist because here he's like, now I don't know what kind of womanly emotional outburst you've got stewing in there, but you got to do this or I'm going to be really mad, Lisa.
Calm the fuck down.
The rest of this movie is going to be a constant like scale tipping between scary and hot. Right now
Yeah.
he's just scary, he's not hot. Misogyny is not sexy.
Misogyny is not testing. Also, we should establish the way that he wants her to make this happen is through the in-flight phone, which is just kind of
Yes.
on. They're just on airplanes. We don't have these anymore, but that's how they're able to make this happen. Is that there used to be a phone, like attached to the back of seats that you could pay to make calls. Well,
Yeah. She wants first to use this in-flight call thing to confirm that her dad is not dead.
mhm.
And he's like, okay, but it's going to be on your dime. Give me your credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool moment of Lisa establishing that she still does have some control over the situation, and she's going
Yes.
to find those moments as much as she possibly can.
As much as
This
she
also
can.
this also transitions us into the meat of the movie where it's just these two people more or less like almost kind of couple bickering for an entire flight as far as other people are concerned, but instead it's literally a life or death scenario.
Yeah.
And
And this
this
is
is
what this is the
definitely
horror. This is the
this is the
horror
horror side of
of
things.
yeah, this is the horror of being a woman in a situation and not being believed.
Yeah. This is also the thing where I ask, like, the part where I really ask people, if you haven't already watched this movie, please suspend your disbelief and just allow this movie to take you where it's going to take you. Because there's definitely a couple of moments where their voices are a little bit raised, probably to just compensate for the fact that there's other noises and it's a movie and you need to hear what these people are fucking saying. And that's definitely some of the criticism that I've seen where it's like, it's not realistic and people would definitely catch on to what's happening. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up and enjoy the movie. Um,
One, it's a red eye flight, so like, even if you're hearing this, like, you don't fucking care. You want to go to
no, you're
sleep and
asleep.
wake up on the ground, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a
And
moment where you see the phone ringing in an empty house, and it's scary, it's silent, and then the tension breaks as the dad walks in, like, I'm coming, I'm coming.
here comes Brian Cox, just kind of lumbering around. I love Brian Cox in this movie. The movie that I personally know him from is Manhunter, which is the first Hannibal Lecter movie that was ever made, where he plays Hannibal Lecter. And so seeing him just be some guy in this movie is so rewarding. I love it. I love Brian Cox in this movie. He's delightful.
Yeah, but as soon as he picks up, Ripner hangs up the phone. He's like, okay,
Hmm.
your dad's safe, see, I wasn't a liar. Now
Yeah.
you're gonna fucking call, and he's about to, like, dial it in, but then, hey, the lady needs help with her luggage again. And
Yep.
he is... He's so fucking pissed off about this, but he's like,
He's got to
okay,
keep up hers.
sure. Yeah, he's got to keep up appearances. He does not want to draw any attention to himself. So if he starts causing a problem here, it's going to be bad. But
Yeah.
he gets up and he grabs Lisa's purse and shoves it in the overhead while looking directly out at her, like, in a, hey, don't fucking try nothing. Don't try nothing.
Um,
And he goes over to help her with this luggage. And who shuffles down the aisle to talk about Dr. Phil again?
It's her.
It's
This is
combat group
fucking
boot
legend.
granny.
She's so great. She comes over and starts chatting her up, and Lisa is like, "Oh yeah, let me note something down for you.
Yeah, because there's,
Let
like,
me let me write you
surveys in the
something."
book she's supposed to take that, like, tell you what sections to read. And she's like, oh, these surveys, they're, like, so overwhelming. I don't know what to do with them. And Lisa's like, why don't I just highlight my favorite parts for you? I'll just highlight them.
No, let me.
Give me a
Yeah,
highlighter.
let
Let
me
me
show you.
highlight them.
Do you have a highlighter and a pen? Let me see those. And you think that she's gonna get away with it because she is so careful to do it when he's not looking.
Yeah.
But then he
Yeah,
gets back.
it's clear
Just
she's, like, trying to get a message out for help. There's, like, a kerfuffle as he comes back. Like, the drinks cart is pushing by, and then he's pushing by, and then the girl's like, oh, sorry, I'm in the way. Oh, silly me. Well, anyways, it
anyway.
was lovely talking to you, Lisa. Goodbye. Like,
Bye.
I want to point out something cute where she said she also asks Lisa to write her address down in the book so she can return the favor later and send her something, which
Yep.
is very sweet. She takes her book and goes to sit down, and there's a beat of silence, and Cillian Murphy goes, I assume she's gonna read that, and then
Uh-huh.
says, I didn't want other people to get involved.
And then he instantly headbutts Lisa, knocking
Yeah,
her out.
knocks her the fuck out. Like, her
Yep.
ass is asleep.
Yep. Because he's a professional assassin, and he like leans her against the window and like you see there's a little bit of blood on his forehead that he very quickly wipes away just in the nick of time so the flight attendant doesn't notice.
Yeah.
Scary guy.
Yeah.
Scary ass piece of shit
Yeah.
guy.
At
So
33
hot.
minutes and 40 seconds. Hey, motherfuckers who are mad about the plane, guess what? Dragon spotted. One of the
Dragon
brothers has drawn it with his Frankenstein pen. Fuck you. It still counts, even if you're not with the plane argument. You will not come after us.
Drawing.
You will
He
not
does
come
have a
after
little
my friend
drawing.
Diana. There's a
He
dragon
does have
here.
he does have a little drawing in his notebook. Everyone is asleep as well.
Everyone's asleep.
Because it's a red-eye flight.
Yeah.
And as is Lisa. Except, oh no, they're flying through a thunderstorm and a really big bit of turbulence wakes her up.
It wakes her up, and not only does it wake her up, Jackson Ripner is sitting next to her, very loudly reading from the Dr. Phil book that he now has.
He now has it.
Dear
oh no.
God.
Oh no, oh no.
And
oh no, he has it.
Lisa glances back, and for a second, it looks like he somehow killed Granny. Like, she's like slumped back in her chair. She looks dead, but no, actually, that's just how old people look when they're asleep.
No, she's fine. She's just sleeping.
But this moment is so good because it really shows how much we have bought into the danger of the scenario. Because when we look at her, we are fully ready to buy in that he just killed her. That somehow, in the middle of this flight full of people, he got away with it. And that's terrifying, and that's exactly how Lisa feels right now.
Yeah.
And it's such a good way to establish that, of just the threat.
Yeah. But what's interesting is that, and you don't know if she fully notices, but Ripner is now getting desperate, because now that she's awake, he's like, all right, call the stupid hotel, get them on the phone.
Now,
you need to do this.
You've
right
been
now?
out for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I will say there's also a cool audio bit I want to point out here with the turbulence, where for, like, between him reading the Dr. Phil book, like, he's reading the Dr. Phil book out loud to her, but, like, it's kind of muffled, and then the turbulence is happening as well, while she's looking at the grandma, and until she, like, stirs awake and Lisa has confirmation she's alive, all the audio is tuned out, but as soon as that happens, it snaps back in, where then Ripner starts immediately, addressing her directly. And it's just a really cool bit of audio that, like, it shows where Lisa is at right now. Yeah. Where her priorities are, what she's thinking of, and what's going through her head, and it's all just through the audio. And God, Wes Craven, good job, good directing.
Hey, Wes.
And also, whoever was involved in the audio, whose name I don't know, because movies are collaborative efforts.
Exactly. Yes, thank you. Oh, also at this point, a little bit before this point, but Ripner has started referring to Lisa as Lise, like as a little pet name.
Which is what her dad calls her, and it's fucking
It's so upsetting, but such a good detail. It sounds demeaning coming out of his mouth. I love
it. But Ripner hands her the phone and says, I will call off my goon as soon as you're done doing this call for me. And she calls, and she gets through to Cynthia, but the call drops before she can tell Cynthia what to do. Cynthia's just like, oh, Lisa, are you on the plane? And Lisa's like, yeah, I'm on the plane, and then, whoop, phone's gone. But she hesitates for, like, a second, but then just keeps going with the phone call, pretending she's still talking to Cynthia, and this might have worked if Ripner didn't look to his left and see a guy on the phone, like, looking at it and, like, being like, oh, where did my call go? Yeah, and he snatches it away. He snatches the phone away. It's like, hello, Cynthia, hello? Oh, you're not there? Click.
And then he drops the raw ass line, because he's like, Oh, okay. So like you didn't get the call through now. Well, you're going to. Otherwise, your dad gets buried in a closed casket, which
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. I want to add also, just while he is saying this, a flight attendant comes up and is and it's like, oh, peanuts, sir? And he's like, peanuts or pretzels? And you're like, ooh, peanuts, yes. And he takes them and just immediately goes back to threatening her.
I love him.
It's so fucking like it enhances the horror of just how you are just how she's like completely fucking isolated. Also the fact that she's in the window seat. Like
Yeah.
everything about this situation is perfectly like you are boxed in, you are alone, and there's nothing you can fucking do.
Yeah. And this, of course, is further emphasized by the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, they're not taking the seats out to get these shots. So it's so confined.
Yeah.
Very well done movie.
We cut to the dude here sitting outside of Lisa's house casing the joint. So
Yeah.
we're establishing to the audience, no, this
He
is
is not
real.
lying.
He's not
Yeah.
lying about this. Because, like, you could very easily be like, well, why, like, as an audience person, you could, like, judge Lisa and be like, oh, why doesn't she call his bluff? Because he's not bluffing. And
He's not bluffing.
the movie wants to make that clear to you, the audience, of like, no, you need to emphasize with Lisa here, her dad is in real danger.
Yeah. And we also we then also we get a brief scene with the dad, with Brian Cox,
Yeah.
and he
It's
goes outside to get his newspaper and notices the car across the street.
Yeah, this is a moment here that I didn't catch the first time watching, but I realize it now.
Hmm.
He's like getting up from the same chair he's been in this whole time to get his newspaper. Despite what Lisa told him, he did actually stay up all night for her,
He's
waiting for her to
staying up for
land.
her.
It's,
Yep.
oh my god, I'm like gonna cry thinking about this. Oh my god, it's so sweet, and it makes you so scared for this man.
I it's such a good character building moment of one, this guy cares about his kid, but also two, this guy isn't stupid. He has noticed that there's a car parked across from his
Yeah,
house that is
a
not supposed to
car.
be there.
Yeah, that's not supposed to be here. But like, that's the thing about this, because like I will hear people talk about movies like this of like, oh, why didn't they act on this thing that seemed out of place? It's like, motherfucker, have you ever seen a thing that's like out of place? Like, if you're
Uh-huh.
not like unhealthily paranoid, you're going to look at a car parked across from you and be like, oh, I guess maybe the neighbors had someone over to visit. Like,
Yeah.
maybe like their cousin came in from out of town or whatever. Like, I see cars parked on my street that I don't recognize all the fucking time. I don't think, oh my god, someone's here to kill me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. But like he does notice it. He's not oblivious. It's just like that's not the assumption you'd make.
Yeah.
We're back on the plane now, and
Back on the
Lisa
plane.
is trying to appeal to Jack's like humanity, his emotion. She says like, I know Keith. He's a good man. And Jackson basically looks at her and says, well, sometimes bad things happen to good people. Like you, right now.
Like
By
yeah.
the way, I've been watching you for a long time, and he starts listing out details of her life, and one of the things he says is so fucking bone-chilling. He says, scrambled eggs at 3 a.m., which is,
Yeah.
like, so scary. Like, how the
Yeah.
fuck... Like, it's like, he starts listing off those, like, if you've ever, like, lived by yourself where you
Mhm.
don't have to worry about anyone else. There's like those little intimate moments with yourself where you're just by yourself. Like, I'm making scrambled eggs at 3 a.m. because I came in on a late shift and I'm tired and hungry and this is just for me. And how the fuck does he know about that? Like, where was he? What was he doing? Was he in my house? It's fucked. It's so fucked. He also says, hey, by the way, what made you such a loner? Was it your parents' divorce? Which is like, wow, okay, dude. Like, really, like, this is like no longer, like, he has tried to like maintain an air of like professionalism with how he's presenting this situation. But no, he's like now getting like, like deeply personal with his attacks.
He's
and
upset.
yeah, he is upset by her. And She wants to go to the bathroom, actually. She's like, I need to go to the bathroom. And he says, here's a bottle. Best I can do.
Yeah.
And she's like,
I would
listen.
also
Oh,
before we keep going, I would like to
yeah.
talk about this moment specifically
Oh, sure.
because they bring it up on the commentary track and I think it's smart and also I noticed it and I agree. He's kind of like guessing things about her life and he also kind of lands on when he's talking about her being a loner and why she's kind of standoffish and doesn't like go out. He kind of gets close to what happened with like the knife or the wound on her chest. Like when talking about her being a loner and like why she doesn't go out, he says something maybe about like a bad date or like getting hurt. And they confirm in the commentary track, and this is again something that's going to come up later, she was sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
Like that thing that happens. It's never said explicitly, but that is like a thing. And that's kind of like the moment where she visibly steals herself and says, I need to go to the bathroom actually.
Yeah.
Hey, I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom now.
Yeah.
And
He
he,
tells
like
her
you
to
said,
he tells her to piss in a bottle and she tells him to piss off. She's like, "Listen,
yeah,
you've won. You win. I'm gonna
you
make the
went,
call. I need to go to the bathroom."
I gotta go to the bathroom.
And he's like, "All right, fine. Go ahead.
I trust you.
All right, I
I
trust
trust
you." And she's like, "And I need my purse." And he's like, "Not that much. I don't trust you
not
that
them.
much. Nice try."
My favorite shot in the movie, because he has to stand up to let her go.
Yeah.
And she gets to the bathroom. It's currently occupied. She
Yeah.
looks back and he's just standing watching
Yeah.
her.
Rebecca gets in line behind her, the unaccompanied minor. She gets in line. She's like, and Lisa's like, "Oh, did you want to go?" And she's like, "You were here first. It's fine."
You're here first.
And she goes into the bathroom, and Rebecca turns around, and what I've written in my notes here is she notices Jack's horrendous vibe.
She
like,
clocks that motherfucker.
like she looks back at him, and she sees like him looking, standing there like the most sinister motherfucker imaginable, and Rebecca's like kind of just does an eyebrow raise. I'm like, that's a weird man. That's a weird man, and I don't like him.
He's being weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa has a
We
panic
have
attack in the bathroom.
we have a great moment of acting from Rachel McAdams where she just kind of collapses on the
Yeah.
floor and loses her goddamn mind in this bathroom,
Yeah.
as she has every right to do.
Yeah, she tries to throw up but can't, which is like, yeah, I've had moments
Yeah.
like that where it's like I want, like, my body is rejecting just the vibe. There's
Yeah.
nothing to throw up, but my body is trying to get rid of whatever horrible thing is causing this in any way it can.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But she gets herself under control. And she like goes to kind of wash her hands and drink some water from the sink and then starts writing on the mirror in soap
Yeah.
with her hands. Great,
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. And what she is writing is like G19 has bomb, which is like Jack's seat. And it's just like she's writing a fake bomb threat, basically, to
Yeah.
get him like to
Also
do something to
if-
get out of this.
Also, if we're gonna be anal about details, I wrote it down. It's actually 18F has the bomb.
Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. 18F has bomb. That's good. I'm glad you remember that detail because I didn't write it down.
I wrote it down.
You wrote it down and you're
we
so cool for that. She goes to leave the bathroom and oh no, Jack is standing right the fuck outside the door and he immediately shoves her back in the bathroom and shuts the door and he starts
'cause he
assaulting her.
sees.
Not like
Yeah.
not like sexually, but like no, he's like physically hitting her now.
Yeah, he's fucking pissed because
He's
he's chill about it until he sees that she's written a note on the bathroom mirror. Like
yeah.
he wanted to do like a bit with her.
He was gonna
He
talk
was
to her, and then he glances and sees the mirror and immediately fucking locks in to do some heinous shit.
yeah.
Her
God, I find this moment so interesting
yeah.
because it's almost as if he's forgotten that he has fucking kidnapped her
Yeah.
and is forcing her to do terrible things.
Yeah.
He's ready to start their banter back up.
Yeah.
Oh, you went to the bathroom? I'm coming. You took a little while. I'm coming to see how you're doing.
Yeah. Like he
Like,
starts by saying, "So I was thinking," but you don't get to
yeah,
hear what he was thinking. You don't get to hear what bit he was about to do.
yeah,
And Yeah, to pile on to the interest while he's like attacking her, her shirt gets like torn open and he notices the scar.
Yeah,
And what he says is, "Did someone do this to you? Is that what this is?"
yeah. And he it's almost like he's mad at whoever did that,
Yeah, which is like
which is
in
crazy.
it's crazy, but in this context, I think it makes him like creepier. Cause
Yeah.
it's this weird like possessiveness over her safety specifically of like what is your fucking deal, Ripner? What's your damage?
His damage is that he's a fucking assassin. Uh
Damages he's a fucking creep, but she tells him that you don't need to do she's like, please, you don't need to do this. She's like begging now, and he gets fucking mad and starts like angrily washing the soap off the mirror and is being like, listen, Lisa, I'm not a fucking liar. I've been honest with you about everything, but I think you're a liar. And this is the line, this is the moment where he says, because I've been watching you for months and I've never seen you order anything other than a fucking sea breeze.
yeah.
He's so
It's
mad about it. He is so fucking pissed off that she didn't play along with his Seabreeze bit. Because, like, one, this says so fucking much about his character, actually. Because, hey, why the fuck would you actually do that? Like, why
yeah.
the fuck would you actually establish that you know exactly what her drink of choice is? That's insane.
Hmm.
That's terrible for your cover. That would throw off the vibes immediately. Why the fuck would you do that? And it's because, like, you can see kind of the pettiness in him now
Yeah.
of just, like, he wanted to seem really impressive and, like, interesting. Like, wow. Hey, man, that's weird. That's
Yeah.
some fucking weird
This
shit.
it also it bothers him so much that they use, because this is a PG-13 rated movie, they use their one F word for this
Yeah,
moment.
they use their one F word. This is where he
Yeah.
says fuck, and it's
Over
God,
the
what a
her
moment.
drink.
What a moment
Yeah.
to pick. I
Yeah.
love that fucking line.
Yeah.
Just
But
I've never seen you
yeah.
order anything other than a fucking sea breeze. Like, how dare you try to get one over on me? He has been
Yeah.
seething about this the entire time.
Crazy. And
Yeah.
then to kind of really just trying to once again fluster her, but it kind of backfires. He says thanks for the quickie.
Oh, no, 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 wait. Before he gets out of the bathroom, before they
Uh-huh.
leave,
Okay.
speaking of quickies, Rebecca tells the stewardess about Jack going in with her. Cause like she's like really uncomfortable by this. She's like, hey, a man went in there. And the stewardess is
Okay.
like, oh, well, it's a gender neutral restroom. We're kind of based like that. And then she goes, no, but a man went in there with a woman. And the flight
Yeah.
attendant goes, "Oh, really? Wow!" And
It's
under her
that
breath
kind of
goes like, "Oh,
flight.
that kind of flight, huh?" Because like she's not going to explain. They think it's some Mile High shit, and she's not about to
Yeah.
explain to a child what the Mile High Club is. But also,
No.
damn, this
Yeah.
child has fucking clocked Jack's horrendous vibe and knows something is up.
Yeah. And to kind of really just drive that in deeper, after Ripner cleans up the mirror and gets himself like situated, he says thanks for the quickie to Lisa. And she was looking so defeated and scared before. Not anymore. Fuck that guy. She
Yeah.
hates that he just said that to her. She's
Yeah.
got a backbone now.
God.
When they come out of the bathroom, the flight attendants are standing right there, and Ripner gives
Oh
them
right.
this fucking smarmy look
Yeah.
as before he leaves, and
Yeah.
it sucks so much
Well,
because you know what they think, but
yeah.
you know what actually
They
happened.
even say this isn't a motel, and he goes like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
God, fuck you,
Uh,
Ripner. You fucking piece of
I
shit.
I also want to mention this because something really funny happened with my DVD when I
Uh
was
huh.
rewatching this. It like skipped during this part. So my movie cut from Cillian Murphy standing there looking like a smug motherfucker to like like half a second later where he's just gone.
He's just
He
gone.
like evaporated.
Where did he go? Oh
Where did he
no.
go? And then
God.
and then because of the way that the scene is, it then cuts to the flight attendants and they look appalled. Like
How
as if
dare
that's
he
what actually
disappear?
happened.
How
As
dare
if
he
they saw
vanish?
him vanish into thin air and they're so mad about it.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, but we're cutting back now. We get
Yeah.
the shot of the people in their seats, and the brother is here with his other
Hmm.
brother, and he's like, "Hey, dog, have you seen my pen? Did you take my
Yeah, where'd
fucking
my pen
pen?"
go?
And the brother's like, "Dog, I'm sleeping. I don't know where the fuck your
Yeah.
pen is." He doesn't say where the
Yeah,
fuck
where does
because we
pen
already
go?
used the fuck, but yeah,
Yeah.
hey, where did his Frankenstein pen go? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
We get a shot of Keith arriving at the like Keith is like on his plane about to
He's on a plane
land for the
too.
hotel. Yeah, he's on the plane. Oh god, his family is with him.
Oh
His
no, he's
family is
he's
with
got
him.
two young kids
Yeah, he's got 2 kids and a wife.
and like
But
an entire security team.
yeah, and now we cut back to Lisa and she's making the call to Cynthia and through her distraught, shaking voice manages to get the room changed to 4080. Cynthia is so great in this because she's like, "Oh
Yeah.
God, okay, well I'll handle it. Don't worry. Okay, here we go." Well, the excuse Lisa uses is basically like, "Hey, maintenance fucked up the plumbing there. If anyone uses it, it's gonna spray shit everywhere."
Yeah.
And Cynthia's like,
Also,
"Don't worry, I'll take care of it."
this is also the moment I think both of us started to be like, hey, these two women, because as soon as Lisa starts talking, Cynthia's like, oh my god, are you okay? You sound terrible.
Yeah.
Are you
Oh,
good?
are
And
you
you're like,
good?
are these? Which, hey, goes back to
Hey.
how her dad is always asking her, hey, are you good when he doesn't need to? But Cynthia knows to ask right now because Cynthia
Yeah.
knows things about Lisa.
Yeah. Cynthia knows things, and hey, I think these 2 women should kiss.
I think maybe these two
It
we're not quite there yet for me, but yeah, these
Yeah.
two women should
Well,
kiss.
well, I'm saying retroactively here.
Yeah.
There's a moment later on where I say this, but anyways, room has changed, and she hands Jack the phone, and Jack, like a piece of fucking shit, looks at her like, "What?" And she's like, "You
What?
fucking call my dad, or you fucking call your guy and tell him not to kill my dad." And he's like, "Well, I'm sorry, I can't do that until I get confirmation that they're dead." And
Yeah.
Lisa picks up on the plural there, and she goes, "Oh God, his family's with him."
Yeah.
And you see like her kind of her face where it's like maybe she was in the middle of like walking herself through of like, I did everything I could, like, this sucks, this is horrible, but maybe I can live with myself, to immediately like, I can't
I
live with
can't.
myself if this happens.
Yeah. That's like there's children involved and that's
Yeah.
that's bad.
The
And
we
yeah.
I was gonna say we get a cut to the agents putting Keith up in the room. They clear the room, but there's like a conspicuous yacht on the water
Hey, what is
near the
that?
hotel where like the balcony is over, because they're now in like a corner suite with like a
Yeah.
big balcony and everything.
My next note in my little book, my
Uh-huh.
little book of notes is, oh, look at that beautiful dragon, because we do get an establishing shot of the plane flying through the clouds and it's
Okay.
beautiful. We on the plane,
Uh-huh. On the
Lisa
plane.
pretends to feel sick.
Yeah.
She leans over. Oh, I don't feel good. And
And
and Ripner is like, hey, why do you what's wrong? What's wrong with
she's
you? And
like,
she's like, you
you
hit me
hit
in the
me in the
fucking
fucking
head.
head. Yeah. Oh, but also as she's leaning over, we see she has the fucking pen. She
She
has
has
the
the Frankenstein.
Frankenstein pen. And now the
Grab.
boat the plane is beginning its descent. We cut back again to the yacht where the security
Uh-huh.
team, because they're fucking confident, actually go to check out the very conspicuous yacht that's just
Yeah, they're like,
out
what the fuck
here.
is
And
that?
they're like, "Hey, we need to see some fucking papers. We need to know what the fuck you're doing." They're like, "Oh, we're just fishing and all that." They check the entire boat and they don't find anything. So they're like, "Okay, you know what? Fine, you can stay here. You're clear. See you later." We're
It's
back on the
Miami.
plane again. They're hitting the tarmac.
No, no, no,
Oh,
no,
are
no, no.
we?
We're not there yet. There's important shit happening.
Oh,
I think is
okay.
important. We're coming in for the landing.
Yeah.
Ripner is chatting Lisa up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take
Well,
you out on a
well,
date.
yeah.
We're
This
gonna
I
get
was
to
gonna
Starbucks.
this is what I was gonna talk about. I'm saying like
Oh,
this is
okay.
like they are actively landing now. They're no longer descending. This is like it's the landing. It's happening.
Yeah.
Wheels
But
are about to
he's
hit the ground.
Yeah, he's gonna take Lisa out for Starbucks for
Yeah.
lattes, and then he'll call off his goon. But he's like, it's such an interesting moment of this guy is a little bit delusional about what their relationship is.
Yeah.
Um, Also, he claps when the plane lands,
Yeah. As
and that makes me like him again.
yeah. Yeah, the I don't know if he claps when the plane lands.
Yes, he
Well,
does.
actually, okay,
Yes,
yes,
he
he does.
does.
But all
He
right,
claps when they fucking land.
yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to work out the timing of this because as they're landing, the plane's like hitting the tarmac, and Lisa suddenly reveals that the scar she has is from a
Mhm.
what is very heavily implied to be a sexual assault that
Yeah.
happened to her in broad daylight in a parking
Yeah.
lot.
In a
And
parking
she
lot.
says he held a knife to my throat the whole time. And since then, I've been trying to convince myself of one thing. And Ripner looks at her and, like, it's not a question when he says it. It's a statement. He says, it was beyond your control. And Lisa says, no, that it would never happen again. And she takes the pen and stabs him in the fucking trachea.
Yeah. Seatbelt sign goes off. She stabs him with a pen.
Yeah, like the incident goes off, she locks in and fucking goes. She jumps up, jumps over him, and just starts pushing her way past the passengers towards the front of the plane. All hell is breaking loose.
Yes. Everyone is far more concerned about the pen sticking out of this man's throat
They
than they are really with catching Lisa.
they don't even
Everyone's
notice
so
for a
concerned.
minute. They don't even notice for a minute. They're like busy getting their luggage, and Jackson Ripner is like with a pen sticking out of his throat. He like falls out of his seat. He's trying to crawl after her, and that lady who he was helping with the luggage earlier is like, "Oh, sir, are you okay?" Holy fuck! Oh my god, you've got a pen in your
no.
neck. And then
Yeah,
she
it's
immediately snitches on Lisa, which is not cool, lady.
not cool of her.
Not cool. Of you.
I do, yeah, they do talk a little bit about this moment where this was the thing that they were worried about when going for a PG-13 rating because they always
Oh,
knew that that's what they wanted, but they were really concerned that the MPAA was going to crack down on them for this. And that's why the scene has very minimal blood in it, but apparently
yeah.
they just scooted right on by
Huh.
when getting this movie rated, which is so funny to me because I watch a lot of pretty gory horror movies. I can't look at him when he stands up and that pen is sticking out of his neck. It's
Yeah.
something about it is really visceral.
Yeah, it's almost like because it's not so over the top and gory, it's like, oh, this could really happen to a guy.
Yeah.
It's not like watching Saw where they put your ass in a machine. A
Yeah.
machine that
And
flips
it's
your ass inside out. It's no, it's not like that. Like I can watch that movie and be like, I would never be put in a machine that flips my ass inside out. Nice try, Jigsaw. But watching this, it's like, no, I could have a pen get jammed up in me. That would be bad. Ah,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Jackson Ripner agrees because he goes into the bathroom and is kind of like examining it in the mirror. And then this moment's so funny. That jackass that he grabbed in line during security,
yeah.
turns out he's on the flight and he's a doctor.
He
And
finally comes back into play.
he looks so annoyed when he sees who it is.
No,
And is like,
it's not annoyance. He looks at him and he's briefly annoyed, but then he takes the time to like gloat over the situation because he goes, don't talk. You don't want to mess up your vocal cords, buddy." It's
this is
God.
also when we kind of get confirmation that it is indeed effectively like a tracheotomy
Yeah.
because the doctor looks at it and is like, you're fine. It looks like it just like it's completely survivable. Like basically you're fine. And Ripner is basically like, oh yeah, good, because he rips that thing out of his fucking throat and goes. He's got a one-track mind at
Yeah.
this point.
At this point, Lisa has managed to, like, get off the plane, and they have
Hmm.
called in, like, a security thing towards the gate. She's fucking booking it out of there. She stole Jackson's phone while she was getting off the plane, and Jackson notices this as he's,
Yeah.
like, trying to go after her. He grabs, like, a silk scarf off one of the flight attendants and, like, ties it around his neck as he's on his way out. And I'm extremely normal about how Cillian Murphy looks in this fucking gay ass little scarf. That's
This this slutty, skinny little silk scarf.
yeah, I'm normal. I'm normal about it. I'm normal
Yeah.
about it and it's fine.
Oh, before this happens, great moment. Rebecca, the unattended
Oh
minor,
yeah.
trips him as he's making his way
Yeah,
downtown.
because his vibes were rancid and Rebecca is going to kill him. It's so
Yeah.
cool. In my notes, I just wrote in all caps, Rebecca, kill him. She
Rebecca.
fucking kicks her luggage out in front of him, causing him to trip and fall flat on his fucking face. And he looks back at her and he's so pissed off. And she just looks back at him like, yeah, what? What?
He,
What are you
he
gonna
would have
do?
killed that child if he could get away with
What are you
it.
gonna do in front
But
of all these people, motherfucker?
yeah, but instead he chases Lisa through the airport. She's had a couple of good, clever moments. One of them was she evaded security by like
Yes.
sitting down at a restaurant and pretending to interview a couple of very confused patrons.
Yeah, she was
Um,
doing that. She like takes like her like outerwear off and
mhm.
like grabs a clipboard and it's like it like picks up a magazine to pretend to read it as people are running by. She's doing some real fucking James Bond shit right now.
She's also running in heels, flat
Yes.
out.
Running in heels on like moving
Jesus.
sidewalks at some
On
points.
moving sidewalks, Cillian Murphy keeps tripping like a fucking moron.
Well, to be fair to Jackson Ritter, he does have a fucking hole in his neck.
Yeah. And she does eventually she escapes him by hopping on the monorail or the people mover, whatever that thing's called. He
Yeah.
gets there just in time, like just right after, and it
Yeah,
leaves.
it closes right as he gets there, and Lisa effectively gets away. And as this chase is happening, as Jackson is being thwarted, and Lisa is doing the coolest shit ever, we cut back to the yacht, and
Yeah.
it seems they've fished up the fishermen have fished up a Stinger missile, that is, because they pull up that fucking silver case from way in the beginning of the movie, and they pull out like
Hey,
a fucking missile launcher.
it rules. It's so fucking funny.
But I digress.
Lisa steals the
Lisa
car.
has stolen a sports utility vehicle from a couple that was like embracing outside the airport. There was an actual romantic comedy movie happening this whole time, and Lisa just fucking wrecks it.
Yeah. But she is possibly gonna get her romantic ending because she calls Cynthia
Oh
at
yeah.
the hotel. Her girlfriend Cynthia,
Yeah.
who we've decided is her girlfriend,
Yeah.
and is
Cynthia, there's
like,
a fucking
"Hey,
bomb. You gotta go.
Cynthia, get Keith the fuck out of there." She straight up tells her, she's like, "Pull the fire alarm, and then you go up there and tell them to leave because they're not gonna go unless you
Yeah.
physically are there." Like
And
she's like,
yeah,
"Cynthia, I need you to put
yeah.
yourself in danger and get this fucker out of there."
And Cynthia just goes like, "Oh God, okay," and then locks the
Okay.
fuck in. Like,
Oh, fun
it's
thing about
great.
Cynthia that we
Yeah.
have neglected to mention, her actor, oh, I'm gonna blank on her name. Her first name is Jama something. But she is the teacher who dates Will Schuester on Glee. So
Oh,
she goes on to have a fun career after this, but she's delightful in this movie. I love her.
incredible.
Yeah. Also, she tries to call her dad ostensibly to check in and make sure that he hasn't been fucking murdered. But now the cell phone is dead. So here we go. She's gonna
Yeah.
go save her dad.
She's driving, but oh no, her dad. What's gonna happen to her? Before we could resolve that, we gotta resolve Cynthia, who is now on the top floor, like running to the room. She's like, "You gotta get the like." The security team's like, "What the fuck is happening?" And she just goes, someone's gonna try to kill the defense secretary, and they're like, all right, let's go, everybody out, everybody get the fuck out. They very, very competent security team, they get him and his family the fuck out of there right as a missile fucking blows up the corner suite.
And this is where that practical explosion comes in. Yeah.
There's a guy standing in the room, like, kind of just looking, a security guy kind of just standing in the room looking around. I don't know what he was doing, other than watching the missile careen towards him.
Making sure everyone got out.
I guess. He manages to make it out, though, I think.
This explosion rules, by the way, because we see those two stunt actors who were specifically left behind to be in the room as it exploded. And the one guy, like, you can see them get, like, physically blown forward when the explosion happens.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand about explosions, like, they physically threw themselves forward. Because if, like,
that's how you don't get injured.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, like, this is something that when you notice it in movies, if you're the kind of person who gets bothered by this is going to bother you forever. If an explosion has enough force to, like, physically throw you, you're dead. It killed you.
Yeah.
Like, like, in terms of physics, getting thrown by that amount of forces, you've been hit by a fucking truck. Like, that's what's happening.
Your insides are liquid now.
You don't, just because you can't, it's just air pushing me really hard. Yeah, air pushing you really hard kills you. That shit's concussive. That kills you.
Hey, you like your organs? They're liquid now.
Yeah, sorry. Whoops. But no one's organs are liquid because Cynthia was fucking competent at her job.
Yeah, she got everyone the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And now Lisa gets to be fucking competent. Jayma Mays. Jayma Mays is her name. I wrote it in my notes.
Jayma Mays.
Yep. Lisa gets to her dad's house, and she sees the hitman who is standing in front of the house. He has his gun up. He's gonna go in there shooting. He sees her coming. He starts shooting her car. She drives the car into him and into the house.
Directly into him and through the house.
She kills this man with her car.
Speaking of getting hit by a truck.
He is dead now.
I wrote in my notes, Lisa gets to her house, sees the hitman, and does what I keep wanting Bella to do with Edward, because, dear listeners, I've been reading through the Twilight series just as a thing I've wanted to do for a while, just because, you know, we go through our lives kind of accepting narratives and like joining in on being haters for things that we've never actually interacted with, and that's not cool. And I think you should try to interact with things even if you think you won't like that. The book is bad. The books are bad.
They're bad.
I can say this definitively now. The books are bad and Edward should be hit by a truck.
Lisa calls her girlfriend Cynthia to make sure that she's okay.
Not quite, because first she checks on her dad. She's like, she killed the fucking hitman. The dad comes out and he's like, Lisa, oh my god, holy shit, what the fuck happened? And she's like, Dad, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, don't worry, I called 911. Like, he doesn't even question the fact that a dead man is in his home and Lisa ran him with a car. He is fully, immediately like, well, my daughter clearly had a very good reason to do this.
Yeah. My daughter would not hit anyone with a car.
A car that I've never seen before. And I don't know where she got this, actually.
But he's supportive.
He's supportive, yeah.
As is Lisa's girlfriend, Cynthia.
After this, Dad goes to call 911, and Lisa goes to call her girlfriend, like you said. We get a cut to Cynthia sitting in, like, the smoldering ashes of the upper floor of the hotel.
She's looking around. And Lisa's like, hi, did it all go well?
Cynthia, are you okay? Like, is Keith okay? And she's like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Everything's okay except the fucking hotel blew up.
Everything's fine. We just have a new window.
And Jesus fucking Christ, Lisa, oh my god. She says, okay, I'll be right over. Lisa, do not fucking go into work today.
Lisa, stay home, except, oh no. Who is that? He's here.
Stay home, and then, like, I don't know, fucking sue somebody for emotional damages, because what the fuck?
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
you could
the guy
sue.
who is
Yeah, maybe you
the
could
guy who
sue
is
Jack
largely the
Rippner
cause of him.
because he's
Yeah,
here
he's
now. Oh
here.
God. Lisa walks into the other room to talk to her dad, and oh no, Jackson Rippner is there, and he is talking in like the most hoarse voice imaginable. He's like,
He's doing the
"Hey,
he's do
how's it going?"
yeah. He's doing the thing that like smokers do when they have like whatever that surgery it is that puts the hole in your throat because he's like pressing his hand like his finger over the hole so he can make sounds.
Yeah,
Scary, scary. He sounds so scary when he's doing it. I love it.
yeah,
Also, he's
yeah,
disheveled now and he's getting hotter.
yeah. In any case, he's here to fucking quote unquote finish the job. He's like, I'm gonna finish the job, and he has knocked out her dad. And Lisa is like, you can't finish the job. It's too late. And he kind of has this confused look on his face, and she taunts him and goes, "Oh, you didn't know? You failed, Jack. Everyone at that hotel is alive." And this is he has a really interesting reaction where he just kind of like swallows and repeats in a much less threatening sounding voice, "I'll finish the job." Of like
Yeah.
he's scared. He's scared of having fucked this up.
Yeah, there's an implication throughout this movie that like he has a handler somewhere probably, and the fact that he didn't get this done the way they needed him to means that he's probably dead. Like just straight up. So at this point it doesn't matter anymore and it's fucking personal. This is no longer about Keith. This ain't about him.
This is a movie about how shitty service work is.
Well and truly.
Damn dog, they're gonna kill you for doing everything, even though you did absolutely everything you could, and the job was fucked up by circumstances kind of beyond your control. That's crazy. They're gonna
Damn,
kill you for
that's
that.
crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, so he's gonna take Lisa down with him. And
Yeah, she says, "I'll
Dustin's
finish the job," and she goes, "Not in my house."
yeah, because this is her fucking house.
This is her
And
fucking house.
thus ensues a very fun and well choreographed and dynamic fight scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going.
Lisa starts to beat his fucking ass.
He really does. He gets a vase thrown at his head. At one point, she picks up like a field hockey stick and she's smacking him with it. Both of them go down the stairs. No, I think Lisa goes down the stairs and then that's kind of at the end of the fight because he comes down the stairs and then she fucking shoots him with a gun.
Yeah, I want to talk a bit more about like all the
Yeah,
cool, fun little
absolutely.
moments of the chase scene because it's like, she like gets chased through the house. She goes upstairs, like she's like fucking throwing fire extinguishers at him. She hits him with her stiletto shoe and like impales him with it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's awesome.
Hmm.
Lisa is looping the killer. It's great. She's like going
Yeah.
upstairs and like climbing out the window, climbing down the painter scaffolding, and coming back into the house. He
They
has no
really
fucking idea where she is because, like she said, this is her house. She knows where everything is.
they do a really great job. One with that establishing walkthrough at the beginning, and also now with how she moves out the house. They really make it feel like she's lived there, despite the fact that we have yet to see her at this location,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is so admirable.
And you might be thinking like, oh, well, he was watching her, so why doesn't he know like what this house looks like? Didn't he case it? Like, no, actually, explicitly at the beginning of the movie when he has the wallet, she's like, "Oh my God, you were in my house," and he's like, "No, my friend was." So he doesn't
Yeah.
know the layout of her house.
Hmm.
There is a scene where she gets her field hockey stick that was foreshadowed by the field hockey pictures at the start and wails on him. Like,
Yeah.
this is such a fun inversion of like the trope of like, oh, the all-powerful killer who like can't be hurt or stopped because he's so determined. No, Ripner's just a dude and he's getting fucking hit
Just a
with a
guy.
big wooden stick.
It's a lot of fun because you tend to see, like you said, like the killer who can't be beat, and
Yeah.
typically there's kind of like a brute force that goes along with it. Meanwhile, in this case, she's smacking him so hard with this fucking field hockey stick, and he has a knife, which he looks like he knows how to use, and that
Yeah.
really makes the scene scarier. But it's like it's very much like a like there's more finesse to his attack, which
Yeah.
again I think that's an interesting inversion.
Yeah, Wes Craven does a lot of like cool horror movie shot. Like he does some shit straight out of
Yeah.
Scream in this, where
Oh yeah.
she is like in like you know how sometimes bedrooms will have a bathroom that connects like the two of them. She is like there, and like she peeks out and she sees that Ribner had like peeked into the door and then left, and she thinks he's gonna come from behind her, so she like goes and shuts the door. But then, like, as she's walking back, she, like, looks at the shower, and there's this, like, suspenseful moment of, like, oh my god, is he behind the shower curtain? She pulls it away, and he's not there. And then 911 calls back, and they're like, oh, sorry, we had an emergency downtown. A hotel blew up. We're sending dispatchers now. And she's like, someone's in my house trying to kill me. Please hurry. And then she goes to shut the other door to, like, barricade herself in the two rooms, and Ripner was standing behind it. Oh, god. Like,
Yeah.
it's great. It's great.
Mhm.
She beats on him with a stick. He like pins her against a wall, and she just looks him dead in his face and just says, "You're pathetic." And he throws her down the fucking stairs.
I have a couple of fun background details before
Hell
we
yes.
get
Lay them
to
on
this.
me. Lay them on me.
So So a big part of this fight was part of that 3-day reshoot process. It was
Really?
more or less starting when she grabs the hockey stick and then goes into the bathroom, and that kind of starts what they filmed to in that 3 days. They originally shot for 2 extra days on their own money because they wanted to
Fuck
extend this fight
yeah.
scene, and DreamWorks, the studio, ultimately matched it. So they ended up not they didn't have to use their own money for it, which rules. That's very
fucking
cool. I like that.
awesome.
She falls down the stairs
Yeah.
and in falling down the stairs lands next to the guy that she ran over with a car
Mhm.
and is able to therefore get the gun from him.
Yeah.
And she points it at Jackson Ripner and he's like, "You wouldn't shoot me," and she immediately shoots him with a gun.
No, he
So funny.
It's great because he says you wouldn't shoot me, and she like cocks the hammer, and then there's he hears sirens coming, and the cops are there. And he just goes, "We'll talk later," and then and then she's like, "No," and then fucking blasts him in the stomach. But now he becomes the unstoppable killer because somehow he does not fall on his ass after being shot in the stomach. He like grabs her by the hair and like kicks the gun away and like lifts her up, and it looks like he's gonna like slit her throat or something. But then you hear from down the hall a voice go, "Hey!" And Jackson Ripner looks up and gets blasted in the fucking heart by her dad, who just fucking shoots him dead. Not even shoots him dead. He's like, he doesn't die from this because Lisa just kind of looks down at him and watches him like fade
Bleed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. They originally had more dialogue to this and it had like a couple of like stinger moments of, like the final girl saying something, and then they decided no, that doesn't fit the tone of the movie, and they just relied on the actors looking at each other, and I think that was a brilliant choice for this.
Yeah. Anyway, Lisa goes back to work after this.
Lisa goes back to work and gives her girlfriend a hug.
Yeah, and Cynthia, the wonderful, blessed person that she is, says, "Yeah, the day was really good, other than that one incident."
Yeah.
God, Cynthia, you're so cool.
You're so cool. You should kiss Lisa.
Yeah.
Keith personally thanks Lisa for what she's done.
And Cynthia. And Cynthia. Don't leave her out. He thanks both of them. Yeah. It's great. And then the Taylors show up to bitch. You remember the Taylors. You remember the Taylors from the start of this movie. Yeah. They're back.
From the very start.
They're complaining like it's someone else's I mean, it is someone else's fault. It's not Cynthia's fault that the hotel got blown up and plaster fell into their room service soup or whatever the fuck they said. They say they're talking to Lisa like, "Oh, Lisa, here's what you should do. You should start cleaning house. Start by firing this lady." And she's like, "Well, okay, you can fill out a comment card at the front desk, actually. And they're like, excuse me? Are you telling us to fill out a comment card? What? And she's like, yeah, and when you're done, roll it up and shove it up your ass. And she looks so proud to say this. And Cynthia is like in awe of Lisa in this moment. She's like, oh my god, you're so cool.
Yeah.
Let's go get drinks together.
Let's go get fucking drinks.
And Lisa's like, okay, anything but a baby. These
Anything
two
but a
women
baby.
should kiss. The end.
The end. A couple more behind the scenes stuff before we completely finish out the movie.
Before we completely finish out the movie, of course.
Of course. So for one thing, they debated what that line was going to be about, like shoving it up your ass. Like they wanted her to have like a clever stinger, and then they're like, no, this felt real. This felt real.
Yeah, no, like you're not gonna have a more clever stinger than that. You don't want to be clever. You want to just be like, you know what, man, fuck off. But you can't say fuck off because you already used the fuck.
Yeah, we already used our fuck word talking about sea breezes.
Yeah, God.
One of the things, we're officially into the credits part of the commentary. The credits are rolling and they're just still shooting the shit. This movie is 85 minutes long. It's breezy. This is a lean cut movie. And they talk about how they kind of didn't realize it was going to be this short. Like they made the movie the way it needed to be made, and when it came out, they were like, oh, we like this. And other people really seem to appreciate that it's like a short movie. And specifically they talked about how at this time there were all kind of a lot of like 2-hour epics, and they were like, no, we want our easy breezy 85-minute movie, and people like that. And I also like that. Oh, and this was really funny for me because I genuinely started to tear up while they were talking like this. They have like this like the score is going, and at this point it's like this kind of beautiful somber music, and they talk about how this movie did super well review wise, and like a lot of Wes Craven's movies when they came out did well review wise, but they're also like horror movies with upsetting things that are happening in them. And this was kind of one of his first like crowd pleasers. And they thought it's really cool that they finally made a movie that like everyone liked. And I like genuinely started like tearing up because this music is going and they sound so happy that they made a movie that people like. And I was like, oh my
God. Oh.
And that was where the commentary ended and the credits rolled, and that's it. That's the end.
Art and creation is beautiful. And that was Red Eye.
Beautiful.
The moment I have been unfortunately anticipating has arrived. And now I guess we have to decide how the fuck we're going to rate this dragon in as audible air quotes as I can do.
No, not quite yet. You have a little bit of a reprieve because well, remember I said I had something that I wanted us to have a short little discussion about.
That's right. You did say that.
The opinion of someone very specific on this movie.
Okay.
So, Cillian Murphy is kind of a big name right now.
Yes.
You know, because he won an Academy Award for Oppenheimer. Mm-hmm. And during this time, he's doing lots of interviews because he was in one of the biggest movies of 2024. And he specifically does a feature piece with GQ, Gentleman's Quarterly magazine.
I did not know GQ stood for anything.
Yeah, Gentleman's Quarterly.
Wild.
And I wasn't able to read that article in full because it's behind a paywall. I couldn't access it. I highly doubt if I went to my local library, because they tend to only keep magazine issues for about a year. That's insider knowledge. I wasn't going to pay for a subscription to these assholes just for this one article. Sorry. It was titled Cillian Murphy is the Man of the Moment by Daniel Riley, published February 13th of 2024. The reason we know about this is because he said some things about Red Eye in this article, that people took issue with. And
Oh boy.
Deadass wrote, like, I found several reviews of Red Eye from 2024 that seemed to be responding specifically to his comments.
Oh
Here's
boy.
what they are. Rachel McAdams is excellent in the movie, but I don't think it's a good movie. Another quote, many of my films I haven't seen. Generally, the ones I haven't seen are the ones I hear are not good. I love Rachel McAdams and we had fun making it, but I don't think it's a good movie. It's a good B movie.
Ooh, dog,
And
dog, you're losing me. You're losing the
yeah, and I'm
people.
pulling, as a note, I am pulling these quotes from two different articles that were reviews of dash defenses of Red Eye. One of them is called In Defense of Red Eye, Why Cillian Murphy is Wrong About the Wes Craven Thriller by Brian Richards, published April 29th, 2024 on Pajiba, which is a website.
Yeah.
And then also Red Eye, Wes Craven's Flight from Hell is piloted brilliantly from start to end by Kevin Bowie, published June 18th, 2024 on The Guardian's website. These reviews were responding directly to his disdain for this movie in this GQ article. And it's one of those things where, for one thing, it made me like him less. But
Uh-huh.
also, two, it is a criticism that I get where it's coming from. And that's why I kind of wanted to have a discussion about it, specifically
Yeah.
because we liked this movie a lot.
We did.
And we also traditionally have not liked a lot of movies that we've covered thus far in the podcast that I would say are also classified as kind of B movies, quote unquote.
Yeah.
You know, these kind of lower budget, mid-tier popcorn movies. And
Yeah.
it is a perspective that I find really interesting because it really does raise the question, well, what is a great movie? What's a great film? And, you know, he's coming off during these interviews, he's coming off of like fucking Oppenheimer, you know, this 3-hour epic. Actually, I think
Yeah.
the article was published in February, so I think this would have been a little bit before Oppenheimer dropped, but he had been, you know, doing
He'd been in the production.
Peaky Blinders. Yeah, he'd been in Peaky Blinders for a while. But I also find it interesting because he got his start in 28 Days Later, which is also a horror movie, B movie about a you know, viral outbreak that kills everybody, and it's full of blood, and it's the budget of that was like $2 and a shoestring. And I just like, again, this is a perspective that I understand because if you're someone who doesn't watch a lot of these movies and just kind of thinks that they're doo-doo garbage trash for idiots who like gore and are easily entertained, yeah, that might be a perspective that you have. But when it comes to something like Red Eye, which is so meticulously done, like the shot composition of this movie, the way that, like, specifically the shots that are chosen to be in it, the acting in it, like Cillian Murphy is giving
the
pacing
visual
is fucking
storytelling,
brilliant.
the
Yeah,
setup and payoff. It's great, and I feel like I'm chiming in with
yeah.
my sentiment
You
because
should.
you've
You should. Go
primed
ahead.
me. No, like people are so primed to like go into things with a certain perspective, and you really have to kind of abandon that if you want to actually get everything you can out of like art and an artistic medium. Because like, yeah, if someone's like, oh, it's like a thriller on a plane and there's like a big action scene at the end, like it's easy to be super cynical about that. And it's also
Hmm.
easy, I think, for a lot of people who like watch movies to, and like, this is fine. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, people are lesser for doing this, but like most people are going to watch a movie and like kind of just take it as is, of like, oh,
Hmm.
this is the story of the movie, this is the plot, this is the important bit. But you kind of have to look at it as like a whole, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not just the plot. And yeah, sure, you can look at this and say, oh yeah, this is like a classic like post 9/11 plot of bad
Yeah.
thing happen on plane. But there's so much here. There is so much here like worth looking at. like all the little moments, all the like intimate shots of these characters and just the raw emotion of everything that's going on is so well done.
Yeah.
And
This to me,
it's sad that like people can so easily dismiss something. Like I was talking about this earlier, how like you can just kind of dismiss something because of assumptions you have about
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, it's a thing of like I watch I read a lot of books, and I am on the booktube side of YouTube, and so that's a discussion that sometimes comes up between genre readers and readers of quote unquote literary fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And the reviewer that I watched today made a really good point. Her name, Becca in the Books. I want to make sure that I shout people out and don't just drop quotes
Oh
and
yeah.
forget to do that. Becca in the Books, she recently did a series reading romantasy books, which, for those of you unaware, it's a whole thing. It's fantasy with romance in it, and that's where we're gonna leave it. But it's
Yes.
very much genre fiction, right? And specifically a maligned kind of genre because it's very much geared towards women specifically. Romance nowadays is very popular, but also continues to get a very bad rap because it's a thing that women like, and
God
therefore
forbid
we
women like
must dismiss it.
anything.
Exactly. And she talks about that as someone who reads both romantasy but also enjoys literary fiction. And
Mm-hmm.
she makes this point of like, yes, literary fiction is designed to be juicy and you dig your teeth in it and there's all this shit to analyze. And romantasy is typically written to be read once and then you kind of like you enjoy it and then you put it to the side and you kind of don't think about it necessarily.
Yeah.
And the point that she makes is that is true for some books, and it's completely fine. Books are allowed, like, some books are allowed to be stuff that you read once and you enjoy it and you don't think about it anymore. That is the way that some media is created. But also, this is a genre that tends to tackle a lot of very heavy things and does so in a way that allows people to safely engage with it. Like, you can have all of your literary fiction in the world that's deeply serious and, you know, is talking about very deep and thought-provoking subjects, and they're all very dark. Okay, and sometimes that's fucking miserable and doesn't do anything for anyone. Meanwhile, you have romantasy books, which a lot of times involve stuff with like there tends to be a lot of mention of like sexual assault in romantasy books. They a lot of times will craft these worlds where like terrible things are happening to women,
Yeah.
and much of the story is them gaining power back specifically through romantic relationships and having that not be something that affects them. And that's really cool and nice and beautiful and useful for the people who read it. And going back to fucking Red Eye, you know, this movie also has a sexual assault plot, and implied, not explicit, but
Yeah. But
features a character regaining agency. And there is
yes.
something meaningful to that.
Yes. Like extremely. Like it's especially from a horror director like Wes Craven,
Hmm.
who I should say, like, if you have not seen Scream, go watch Scream.
You
But
should.
yeah, this is something that, now that I'm thinking about it, this is something that Wes Craven has kind of been doing, because like Scream kind of ends with a woman like asserting her agency over the men who want to fucking hurt her. Like it's and like yeah, that's fucking powerful. That's like a
Yeah.
powerful statement, and it's
I
like
mean,
you shouldn't dismiss shit out of hand, because it's like you look at it and it's not like, oh, this isn't like some big, like on its surface this is not some big like, oh, this is like a tropey action thriller movie, you know?
mhm. Yeah. You know, if you like, if anyone's interested in specifically horror and slasher movies and the role that women, specifically in the case of the final girl, play in them, I'm not even going to recommend you something specific. The amount of scholarship that exists on that is it would blow your mind if it's not something that you've already looked into. But that's like a big thing in the slasher genre, is this idea of women gaining power back over men who have hurt them. Like that is kind of the entire genre, actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of those movies are goofy and really poorly made. Red Eye kind of is therefore a little bit beyond that, because just saying like it's a good B movie, I think really dismisses the craft behind it.
It's reductive.
It is. And it also sucks because I too read a lot of literary fiction. I've watched a lot of big brain Oscar baity movies. Some of those movies are fucking garbage. They're not well made. They're boring. They don't move you at a good pace. They're not actually saying anything. They're just tackling heavy subject matter without having any sort of intelligent point to make about it, or doing it in a way that's particularly artistic. Meanwhile, you have Red Eye that,
offensive.
Yeah, no. And so, like, you might point at Red Eye and go, that's like a cheesy garbage B movie. For one thing, no, it's not garbage. But
No,
for
not.
another thing,
It's good.
Did it's also
say garbage?
He didn't say garbage. He said it doesn't think it's very good, but also sounds like he hasn't even fucking seen it. So I kind of don't want to hear it then.
Dude, you only see so much from one side of the camera.
Yeah, but my argument for Red Eye is that this is one of the closest to perfect movies I've ever seen, just in terms of it is accomplishing everything it sets out to do.
Yeah.
There's very little that I would change about it, and some of that is a matter of taste rather than things I think are objectively wrong with it. Like, I kind of don't want to fucking hear it, you know?
Yeah. Hey, Cillian Murphy.
Shut up.
Watch your movie. Watch your movie and be pleasantly surprised. And that goes for all of our listeners. Not just like watch Red Eye, but like open yourself up to as many worlds as possible, and you will get so much out of art. Like, genuinely speaking, like, do things and watch things and experience things that you don't think you'll like. Like, even like, if you have an assumption about something, about like a piece of art that you have not actually experienced, like, bury that assumption. Bury that assumption in your fucking backyard and plant flowers over it.
Yeah.
And then go watch the shit that you felt
Yeah.
I was talking earlier in this episode, I don't know if this is going to make the final cut, but I was talking about how I'm reading the Twilight series. That shit's not good, but I'm getting something out of it. I'm like actually looking at this character that I had heard like in so many dismissive discussions growing up, like, oh, Bella Swan, she's like such a fucking weird, stupid character who sucks. And hey, yeah, this book and like the writing in it sucks. Bella is kind of an insufferable character, but she is also an incredibly interesting depiction of a teenage girl. Like,
God,
there is something there. Like, there is. Fuck, I was going to say there is not a single episode. Like, we have watched so many movies that we say are bad and that we did not like, but there is not a single one that we didn't get something out of. Except maybe Dragon Ball Evolution. I genuinely cannot think of a good thing I liked about that movie, but you know what? I still fucking watched it, motherfucker. I didn't sit here on my ass and say, oh, Dragon Ball Evolution, that's a bad movie, without having watched it. I went there. Yeah. I formed my own opinion. I experienced the fucking media.
Yeah. Also, I totally did get something out of Dragon Ball Evolution, because I will never go a day in my life without thinking of Fuller and Agundis. I will never not be baffled by that creative decision, and that's something.
Yeah, you know what? Fair. If I didn't get anything like, I don't know if I got anything artistic about it, but goddamn, did I get some laughs with my good friend Diana. And isn't that what we fucking do this for? Is
that not what we do this for? Watch every single movie that we've talked about on the podcast. Actually go do that.
Yeah, although actually, Diana, I'm just remembering something right now. That's actually not what we do this for. We do this to rate dragons. And I think we've been putting off this one long enough.
It's fucking time to rate the dragon of this movie. Heather, please pull up the dragon scale and share it with me so we can talk about.
I would be glad to. It's episode 8. You already know what the fuck this is. This is the dragon scale, our mathematical, numerical, and entirely arbitrary quantitative scale for rating the dragons we see in these movies.
Yep.
And regretfully, I guess we're rating a fucking airplane today.
Yes, we are rating the fresh air Boeing 767 that appears in this movie. Heather, it's time to give our first under 10 taxonomy.
I am arguing a firm 0. This is not a dragon at all. This isn't even the plane that's called a dragon.
I would say still a 1 because it's a distant cousin of that airplane that was a dragon.
Come on. All right, fine.
Please,
fine.
Please, for me.
Fine.
Because that gives us wiggle room for other dumb justifications.
Fine. You know what? I'll give you 1 for your argument and another 2 because you're my friend.
No, give it a 1. No, don't do that. That's a 1.
Okay. Jeez, trying to throw you off. Elegance. Honestly, I don't think Boeing planes got it.
I don't think there was something
like,
about it.
Yeah, I would say like there's an inherent elegance to any kind of flying machine, I would say. But
there's a few
commercial airlines. Yeah. Well, sure, but I'm not saying a 0, obviously, but I'm saying like I have seen very elegant looking like passenger jets.
Sure.
Like, yeah, and Boeings aren't those.
This one looks like kind of a dumpy idiot.
I'd say maybe like I'd say something middling, like a 5, maybe a 6.
Yeah, I was gonna give it like a 5. We'll go 5.
All right, a 5.
5 is comfortable.
Yeah.
Terror. I mean, scary things are happening on
9 for 9/11.
Also,
are you all right? Your mic went dead from, I assume, how hard you just laughed at that.
So sad that it's not picking up any of my laughing. I lost my goddamn mind when you said that.
Okay.
That's staying in the episode.
Yeah,
I'm not taking that out. That's so fucking funny. I was trying to be like, turbulence is scary, and you're like, 9/11.
Right, I mean, what else am I gonna say? This movie came out in, what, 2005?
Yeah, planes are scary. I'm afraid of airplanes. I don't like them.
Yeah, the category's called terror, Diana.
I was just still thinking of that peaceful scene of the plane going through the clouds during a sunrise. I was like, that's not scary, and then I remembered that I fucking hate flying.
Okay. Prominence. This plane is most of the fucking movie. 10 out of 10.
This plane is, yeah, kind of 10 out of 10. Yeah.
Yep.
Effectiveness.
It gets them there.
Yeah, I get 7.
7. I'd say 7. Yeah. The plane could have been better. Could have been better, honestly. A little turbulence. It got them there, honestly. Yeah, but no, effective. Plane was very. Yeah, honestly, I bumped this up to like an 8 or 9. Actually, this was a very effective like plot device.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm comfortable with
I'll say 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
holy shit! Do you want to give it a bonus?
Whatever do you mean, Diana? Whatever do you mean? I definitely did not just give it a bonus of 0.1 so that the total rounded out to 6.9. I definitely wouldn't do something like that. Oh.
Rules!
Yeah. Spoiler alert for those of you who are just listening to my quick math. The final score of Red Eye's Dragon, in quotes, is a lovely 6.9 out of 10. It's time to dump this in the ranking.
Jesus fucking Christ, it's really not bad.
I don't remember what the flight number of the plane was, do you?
I don't remember the flight, but I would call it Fresh Air's Boeing 767.
All right, Fresh Air Boeing 7067. We had a Time to Dragon of when?
2015.
2015. Good year. Just
Yeah.
kidding. No, it wasn't.
No, it was not.
We've plugged it into the rating system, and it's time to resort our planes. Fuck, our dragons.
We're all airplanes now.
Shut up.
Never.
Yeah. Well, it's time to sort descending, and that gives us... That places Red Eye's Fresh Air Boeing 767 at a solid 6th place, just above Quest for Camelot, and just below Dungeons & Dragons 2000.
It feels right that they beat out Devon and Cornwall.
As they fucking should have, and I also definitely did not mix up the dragon and movie name on the Dragon Ball Evolution slot on this spreadsheet. I definitely didn't do that.
Not. Yeah, surely not.
Yeah, that's our episode. Hey. That's our episode, friends and folks.
Yeah. And once again, just a reminder, we're on our 2-week schedule now.
Yep.
And
so, yeah, the month of Fools has ended.
Month of Fools has ended.
And so we're going to be catching you next week, or not next week, 2 weeks from now, with a true return to form. We're going back to our roots to get some work done on some unfinished business. That's right, friends. Remember when we talked about it being the Star Wars of fantasy? Dungeons & Dragons did get a trilogy, and we're watching the second one next time.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We're gonna go spot that dragon, and we'll spot you later. Thanks for listening, everyone. I've been Heather.
I've been Diana, and we'll continue to be.
See you later.
Bye!